The great Jackie Wilson. Jackie Wilson said, I'm in heaven when you smile. Hey, it's the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
Hey, it's a Friday. You ain't got no job. And coming up today at 2 o'clock, it's Unmasked with Pamela Adlon.
Yeah!
I also want to make an announcement. Pamela Adlon will be Gail's new mom if I have my way.
Oh, my God.
You will have 3 younger crazy sisters. And I will play the part of Mr. Brady. By the way, I don't know if there's any possible way to be a good stepdad. I just don't think it works that way.
You best just stay out the way, I think.
Hey, pal, I don't like the way you're talking to your mom. You know what I mean? It's like the worst thing you could possibly do. Vito has some news for us. He's got himself an Unmasked
Whoa.
for next Friday. Vito, who have you booked?
Dana Gould.
There's no build up.
No, he
at all. You just yelled out Dana Gould.
It's going to be with Dana Gould next Friday at 4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m. You've running be a long day, huh?
I just thought, you'd want to hang out.
Really?
I like spending time with you, so I wanted to be with you longer that day.
Well, I'm going to be on mass that night, too, so that's a very long day. Very long day. You're a bad person.
I'm sorry.
Dana Gould! All right, so tell people how they get tickets.
You go to the iBang for a chance at free tickets. Go to the ibang.com for a chance at free tickets to Dana Gould Unmasked next Friday, October 6th at 4 p.m.
Chris, who did I ask?
Yes, Vito, I apologize.
And how does he look right now? And he asked for you to hand him a paper, which you did not. You just read off his thing, and it was his time.
The tension between the two of you.
It's always
why?
I don't know.
Why?
I blame Vito.
Can I just tell you, Daddy loves both you boys. You don't have to fight for Daddy's attention.
I don't know.
I'm never fighting him for your attention. It's always him coming after me.
It's bullshit.
I heard a story yesterday that from Gail, where you said that. Chris was actually telling me this story. He said once you were pretty sure Vito was going to punch you, and that made me laugh for 10 minutes. Do you even know what we're talking about, Vito?
Yeah, I know.
You already know. And you guys took all this time before you would even tell me?
This whole room knows. It was a clusterfuck between the two of them. It was craziness.
It was mostly Vito in the wrong here. I'm going to say that right now. Because he, in the middle of the street of New York City, started freaking out and threatening to beat the shit out of me.
What? Oh, randomly? He randomly just did that.
Chris was being a dick, and Chris and I got into a little argument. And then I was trying to calm down, and I tried to stop getting mad, and then Chris goes, "Oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gonna cry? You gonna cry? You gonna cry
Why
right
would
now?"
you do that?
I don't remember that part.
That's 100%
By the way,
what
you're
you did.
supposed to be the leader.
Okay.
You're supposed to be.
Let me set the scene for you.
Yeah.
It's Jen's second day on the show. Okay, we have just got Jen. Just recently. So this is a very early to first impression of our team. So Vito has done something wrong. And Vito and I have a friendship, but I also am firm with him and tell him when he messes up, and we have a thing. So he had messed something up. And I said, Vito, it can't be done this way. It needs to, and he and I have a rapport where I can give him a note on how he could do something better. Yeah. And then at that point, Chris starts to jump in and go, and when you did this other shit, and it was some other problem that Chris doesn't bring up normally, but he sees that I'm dealing with him. So I start to say, Chris, this is not the way to handle it. He's already getting a whack, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to lay into him. I'm already trying to tell him why he messed this thing up. So Chris starts to be like, you fucked this up and blah, blah, blah. So then Chris starts to be like, so why are you doing this? So Vito starts to get loud. He starts to get upset about it. And then Chris starts to taunt him and go, oh, what are you going to cry? What
Why,
are you gonna
Chris?
cry? This is his boss. This is his boss. And then from the crying, he snaps much like a young child would snap if he was being bullied.
He did.
If he was being bullied.
I punched a street pole instead of Chris.
Yeah.
Not punched. He took a notebook. Like, you know, the street pole where they have.
Yes,
like,
I know what a pole is.
The parking. Fucking
All right, relax.
He starts slapping his.
It wasn't a bunch of slaps. I did it one
He
time.
did once,
I
but it
remember
was.
once.
By the
But,
way-
and then he got very chesty. You know, Vito got very chesty.
I can picture it already.
And I should say, I am immediately jumping between these two animals. I mean, these are two
Right, these are-
grown men, but you
Right.
you look crazy and you were taunting, and he's getting aggressive, and I'm standing there, stop it right now! And Jen is laughing hysterically.
Now, Chris, were you ready to throw hands if it came to that?
I would have fought him. I've probably gotten the shit kicked out of me, but I would have fucking.
So you
fought.
really feel like he could beat you in a fight?
He's much stronger than I am. He's a
Wow,
pretty
that's
strong
great to
man.
know. Now,
I beat the shit out of Chris.
but you're
I'd
still,
fight dirty though.
but you're like the Hulk. You don't want to use your power. You
No.
don't want to beat
And
somebody up.
That's why I felt bad. He was
Yeah.
taunted into snapping, but then I had to yell at him and be like, "You can't do that to your coworker. You can't act, and you can't tell your coworker, are you going to cry like you're a baby?" And then I'm going to Jen, I'm sorry for this behavior. Now you see why I'm so happy to have a woman on this team, because I deal with these two children all the time. And Jen was just remarking how ridiculous it looked, me standing between them trying to
Like bumping back and forth, like, no.
Now, by the way, Vito keeps looking off like he's visualizing this the whole time. But why is this kept from me? Why again? Just like, were you high on mushrooms again, Vito?
No, this is
Because you
not-
can't be trusted. We know that. With your drug addiction, you can't be trusted.
You have a problem.
I was just really I was just really mad. I didn't like the way I was being spoken to by Chris. I didn't like that while I'm having a conversation with Gail about something I did, that he felt the need to jump in for no reason and start yelling
Has
at
there
me.
ever been a time where you two felt close to each other? I mean, you do Big Brothers together.
I know.
And
He doesn't like my wrestling references.
it's more than that. He doesn't feel like you even want to be on that
He
show.
thinks you disrespect
love-
the game itself.
I love doing Big Brothers.
Why did you say that when you just try to break it?
Then why do you think you got a laugh in the room when you said it? Nobody believes
Nobody
you.
believes you.
You tried to get the last episode from not air. Like you're a terrible co-host. on
Did it?
that show.
Did it air?
It did air.
I didn't even end up knowing about it because the last I heard, it hadn't. Yes, you're right. He is a terrible
He's
co-host.
a terrible co-host.
Yes.
I have to
I take offense.
I'm nice enough to him where like I like get all these updates about Big Brother and like give him a little note sheet of like, here's what happened. Here's like
I
just so
watched
you
the
know.
show, Vito.
No, you don't.
Yes,
You
I
don't
do.
really.
You don't.
Paul almost won this
Can I
season.
just say something? You stole his announcement. You know he's running the Unmasked now.
Yes.
Because you've moved on to bigger and better things. Not really, Vito. Unmasked is the jewel. And and he was reading it, and you took it from him.
Well, he should have remembered to take a copy of his plug.
You always
That he-
hand the plug sheets out. This is the thing that you have them by
But
you.
you had 6 of them in your hand. You could have grabbed one for
I
yourself,
put
buddy.
them by you, and then I
See, that's
motioned
the
towards
taunting.
you. I put my hand out,
Yeah, you
and then
did.
you just stared at me.
He did put his hand out to get it.
You should have thought ahead, Vito. That's all. You should have
Vito.
just
Are
taken
you
a plug for
actively
yourself.
working against him? No,
Yes,
just
I'm
answer
not.
that.
I am not. I'm
It's
not.
fine if you are. We just want to know.
I thought he was asking for help
Sweet
to
face
jump
of
in.
his boy.
This means jump in. Hand me something. Vito, it's Dana Gould. Dana Gould, a week from today.
It's happening at 4 p.m. October 6th at Sirius XM. You could go to the ibank.com for a chance at free tickets. And you know, Dana Gould's pretty cool. He was a writer and executive producer for The Simpsons for years, which that's an accomplishment itself. He wrote for The Ben Stiller Show, and he has a new show on IFC, Stan vs. Evil.
What's this all about? What's the new show about?
It's a horror show, I believe.
And I know he's a fine stand-up, very, very,
Very
well
funny.
respected.
Yeah.
So, particularly on the West Coast, he's a West Coast gem. He's from Boston originally. You know that, right?
I didn't know that.
Part of the Boston Bad Boys. A lot of great comics from Boston. Also, a lot of baked beans coming to Boston.
Delicious.
I don't know why they call it Boston baked. Those are the same beans anywhere. What do you always want to order when you get to Boston? Like if you're like, oh, I'm going to be in Boston for a day. What do you want to eat? Because everybody always goes lobster.
Yeah, I feel like it would have to be like either like a clam chowder or a lobster roll.
I have oysters when I'm there. I'm like, give me some fresh oysters. To me, oysters are the pearl of the ocean.
I'll tell you this right now. If you think about the simplicity of how perfect an oyster is, or if this is like, here's a 2-ingredient recipe, raw oyster, and then like squeeze of lemon. That's 2 ingredients.
Do we eat anything else that's alive and breathing and trying to exist while we're sucking it down? Or is an oyster the only one?
They're alive?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You say that about everything you eat. Remember yesterday you had cow and I had to tell you that's where the mooing came from?
I didn't know. I still ate it.
You thought it was a vegetable?
What, oyster or cow?
I mean, do you really have to ask you this question?
I just thought
either. I'm curious.
I didn't know it was living. I just thought an oyster was just a dead little sea creature that was just.
I don't think you can eat them dead, can you? Isn't that
Like-
they go bad if they're dead?
Yeah, they can't be deceased for very long.
I didn't know they were alive.
Yeah.
It's a living thing.
Fish are living things at one point, and you still eat fish when they're dead, or shrimp. I just,
Well, you can have cooked oyster, but
Yeah.
a raw oyster is live.
I didn't know. I just
Yeah.
thought it was. I just thought it was food. I like
It
oysters.
is food.
It's an animal.
Still definitely food. 100%. It's edible.
Like a salad is alive and you're eating that.
That's not alive
Yes. It's a living thing.
because once it's cut off the ground, that's not
When
living.
But
it's
it was
cut
once
off the ground.
It was once living though. It was once a living thing.
But like oysters, you're saying are living at the time you eat them.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I just,
Makes you upset?
no, I just don't know. Like, what's it like? What's
Are you
it,
an oyster guy?
I love oysters. I just never knew this, and now I'm just thinking like, what's its life like?
Chris, you seem like an oyster person, are you?
Fucking love them.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
rip through some oysters.
Jen?
Yeah.
Love oysters.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god,
know.
there's a whole show. Well,
We should
oyster
go
lovers.
just do an oyster night.
Oh my god, I would
yeah.
love this.
Yeah.
Love that.
All right. That's it. We're going to just do a straight oyster night.
Oyster night. Oyster night. Oyster night. Oyster night. Oyster night.
Guys, let's
Oyster
try to
night.
make reservations at the...
Sorry.
Hi. Is this oysters at the cloisters? Great.
Great.
No one outside of Manhattan knows what the cloisters are.
Do you ever notice that? Do you have like a voice that you use for like I've just called a place and now I have to have a professional sounding voice?
I will say this. The last time I've had to call a place, I don't remember when it was. That's how often either my chick or my producers call someplace.
Call for you.
Yeah. But there's no point of this that I go like this. Yes, I wanted to make those reservations. Yeah.
Most people have that
Yeah, I know.
voice where sometimes like I'll notice that my voice, like I don't have normally like a very high pitched voice. Like there's kind of like low tones in my voice, but I'll call a place like, hi, I was just wondering if you have reservations for tonight. And I'm like, why am I speaking so high to this person? Hi, yes, do you have any availability? Like, where am I going with this?
Yeah, I was looking for a room tonight. You do? Oh. Is there anything that you have that's on the riverside? There is?
What are we doing when we do that? We're trying to sound unassuming, gentle.
Nice.
Like it's just like, hi, oh hello.
There's a king bed? 2 king beds? Oh, this is wonderful. Yeah. What time's check-in? Oh my God, 2:00. I'll be there long after 2:00. That room will sit clean for 2 hours before I get there. Now I have 7 dogs and I smoke cigars. Yeah. No, business. I'll be selling crack out of that room for just 2 days. I'll have it all sold in 2 days.
Oh man, my boyfriend's uncle has a phone voice that is just like very strange. He's like, yes, just calling to see if you have availability, and he does not speak like this. Yes, yes, very, very quick, and that's to the point. And I'm like, he doesn't speak like that. He gets very like Plainview, and for some reason,
There was, I had this guy. He was like my landlord, my first place in Florida. This was before Gail was born. And there's something that happened, whether I had a problem with my heater in the winter, and he was over and he couldn't fix shit, of course. And then he was calling to let these people know, and he was reading off why this, and he's still at my fucking apartment, right? And he's going, yes, in Long Beach. Yes, I've got this right here. And then he goes like this with the phone. He goes like this. You have any peanuts? I go like this. No, I don't have any fucking peanuts. I can't stand someone in my... The fact that he would just say, do you have any peanuts, like he's my brother. And the phone voice always reminds me of that. Just how terrible of a phone voice. They didn't understand anything, this guy. No. And you said the word Long Beach. Long Beach, over and over. Ugh.
Chris, what's your phone voice? Do you...
Mumble?
No, I go higher and I go like very like I try to over enunciate.
What do you want me like? Let's suppose you're calling me for a booking for the Bennington show.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, how's it going? Chris Stanley here. I'm calling for the Bennington show. Looking to get one of your clients on.
Yeah, which client?
Mr. Jerry Seinfeld.
No, absolutely not.
Well, but someone else I could talk to, maybe the person above you.
Yes, you above me is a dial tone, sir.
Oh God, that did not go.
Not only am I not going to book him, and I'm set out to destroy this show.
What? No,
I'm going to make sure no ever plays this so-called show of yours.
No.
And by the way, I know what sexual harassment is, and you just did it.
I did it.
Yes, it's like you were talking directly into my vagina. Oh, you're laughing about it. No. You're being taped, sir.
Oh, my God.
That's a terrible phone voice. Look at what it caused. I will say that is accurate. I have heard him. He did a pretty accurate impression of his phone voice.
Why don't you talk like that on the radio?
I know.
Words come out too quickly out of my mouth. That's what happens.
It is kind of like your plug voice, though.
Yeah, it's very pluggy.
But even higher, it's much higher than your plug voice. Hi, Chris Stanley.
Just trying to sound pleasant.
Vito, the oyster is still breathing when you swallow it. Just so you know that. You feel bad?
It's not that it's just I'm really thinking about the oyster's life now, and just like what its life is like. Like, where's its
pretty
face?
shitty, even if it doesn't
Where's
get
its
eaten.
face?
It lives inside of a fucking what I would consider a rock.
There's a beautiful ocean out there, and he's just in a shell. That's horrible.
Where's
the reason why he's in a shell is because everyone would eat it early.
Because he tastes so good.
It doesn't have a face. That's why fucking vegans will eat oysters. They don't eat things with a face.
Yeah.
And all vegans eat just fucking tons of oysters.
They love them.
That's a sweet little loophole they got there.
Yeah.
So where's it breathe from?
It breathes through its thing. It's like a muscle or something like that. So the air is coming right through.
It's like almost porous.
The delicious part.
I just want to poke it now.
You mean with your penis?
No,
that's disgusting.
I don't want
Vito.
to do that. Just my finger.
Just because it's living doesn't mean you can fuck it. Chris, sell that T-shirt, will you? Just because something's living doesn't mean you can fuck it.
Hi, this is Chris Stanley. I have a T-shirt to pitch to you guys.
Can I? I can. That's another thing that this is another noise that I fucking hate, is that like if you offer somebody something, they go like this. Oh, peaches. And I hate when they're like too thankful for that. I hate if a fucking person is like so subservient to another person, and I hate when people say stuff like this. I wish you would adopt me. I'm like, well, we can't. We're both the same age. You're an adult. We don't adopt adults. We adopt children that need an adult around, not another adult well into their 40s. That person doesn't get adopted.
What if somebody says, marry me?
Oh, God. Seriously. They might as well be saying stab me, because that's what they're going to get. A sharp, jagged.
I used to work with a woman who used to use the term rock star so inappropriately.
Oh no.
You are such a rock star. Thank you. And it's like, I handed you a piece of paper.
Right.
Why the fuck are you saying that?
Or you ever hear this? We had a rock star lunch today. And I'm like, no rock stars make a big deal out of lunch. Normally they're still sleeping their drugs off.
That's every NBC group of people talking also in the elevators.
When somebody says like, just like you be like some. Like say, like use rock star, like and like you're doing it to compliment me.
Okay, you're a rock star today in that meeting.
Excuse me, did you say fuck star? That's my thing of getting back
That's
on.
great. No, I didn't say that.
Rock star.
Seems like you said I was a fuck star. Pamela Adlon on Mass coming up at 2:00. We've got a first responders. Vito put up a beautiful poster signed by Pamela Adlon. You can view that on the Bennington Twitter right now. So first responders tweet at Pamela Adlon and at Bennington Show a chance to win the signed Unmasked poster. This is something I would put in my living room. I love this poster.
I would too.
This is the best poster we ever had. Like, this one's awesome.
I love that image of her. It's just like such a
What
cool...
night of the week is her show? Because I just have it on
Thursdays.
Thursday, yeah.
Thursday night.
So last night it was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I have it taped at home.
Yeah.
Is it taped? Because there's no tape in there. What do you say?
Recorded.
I don't like that,
Yeah.
Vito. I like tape.
I still say taped about
Yeah.
everything, and I know it's improper.
I've only said recorded because I didn't really grow up in like the tape.
Okay, you're the young guy.
Millennial Joe over here.
What's that?
I say it's in the hard drive. That's what I say.
That's not what you just said.
I say it's in the hard drive.
You were asked the question of what you just
I
said.
called him Millennial Joe, but when I don't say recorded or
Thank
taped, I
you.
say it's in the hard drive or it's in the HD.
Millennial Joe is a good one, man.
Yeah.
At least I know the plugs.
All right. Let's not
Okay.
fight back and forth.
He's the one who starts it, Ron.
I don't. Seriously, I feel
starts
like I can't be the dad driving the station wagon to Disney. All right? We're all adults here.
I just want to just point out your male privilege that if me and Jen fought like this, everyone would be like, whoa,
Cat
cat fight.
fight.
Women can't work together.
Yeah. Let me say something with the puppy fight that's going with these two guys. They do grab each other's cocks and balls.
The two of them are always biting each other's dicks. You know what I mean?
Loving that dick. Anyway, everything between us is uncomfortable and tense. But coming up today, 2:00 on Mass, but a Friday from this week is the incredibly cool Dana Gould Unmasked.
And it's going to be happening next Friday, October 6th, 4 p.m. Sirius XM. Go to the iBank for a chance at free tickets. It's going to be awesome.
So, what to you guys is your go-to phrase that you call someone as an insult? Like, everyone, I think, has, like, an insult thing.
Like if I was going to have a thing on the street, right?
Yeah.
If I felt like it was going to escalate somewhat possible violence, I'd use the term motherfucker.
That's good.
If not, I think I might even go dickweed. Dickweed has been, because I think that means dummy, stupid, and is a lot less aggressive than motherfucker.
Yes.
Because I never say, who are you talking to, dickweed? But I would say, who are you talking to, motherfucker? And then everyone's like, okay, so this is a serious place.
This is gone.
But dickweed is my way of saying nincompoop.
That's perfect. My go-to for nincompoop is always bonehead. And
Really?
I think it's even funny when you're legitimately pissed off. Like you're acting like a fucking bonehead
That's
right
good.
now. And I think that when you couple it with another harsher word like fuck, then you're like, it seemed like you were saying bonehead because you were being gentle about it because you didn't want to say asshole or idiot or something.
These are interesting. These are interesting to me because I think it happens so fast.
Yeah.
It's never like, what can I call that guy? You just say it immediately. Like, Jen, I'm interested in yours.
Well, I always call like everybody an asshole.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest curse word, I guess, because I just say it to everyone, every girl, every guy I've talked to.
And it works for both, which is always good about asshole. You can
Yep.
call a guy or a girl an asshole, and it's not particularly offensive to one gender. No one wants to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about if you say pussy, then you could get like, hey, like a pussy's not a bad thing. A pussy could be a good thing. But nobody wants to be an asshole. An asshole is not something you want to be.
Now that I even think about it, before kind of Fez enlightened all of us, I think I used to use the other F word very, very quickly.
Yeah.
If in the way that I said motherfucker, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it feels like you're taking some kind of
Sure.
domination from them. Vito, what about for you?
I like to call people you fucking nerd.
That's kind of like mine, where it's like it throws you off.
Yeah,
I'm like,
thrown
wait,
off by
what?
nerd.
I love it, and I realized like last year I was doing it a lot, and then I was just like, wow, I didn't realize how much I was using nerd, and like, but nerd culture is really popular now, but it's still if you use it in a hurtful way.
But you're not going to call somebody who's not a geek a nerd, would you? Like if you were fighting with Chris Stanley, would you call him nerd?
I'd call him a fucking nerd.
What? Makes no sense.
Look how
also-
puffy his fucking hair is.
This is not nerd hair.
For a little bit, I was really into calling people a tacky bitch.
Oh yeah,
That's
he
funny.
he was saying tacky bitch, and what was funnier is how mad it would make Chris. Like
Yeah.
Chris would be saying something, he's like, "Why are you gonna be a tacky bitch about that?" And he's like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
It's like,
He is
I'm
right.
not being tacky. It's not what
But
tacky
you know
is.
you're a bitch.
I grew up where tacky was the worst thing in the world, so I was just like, you're a fucking tacky bitch. That's what you are.
Oh,
What do people mean when they say ticky tack?
I've heard stuff in school.
Yeah.
For some reason, hold on. Wow, I haven't thought of that shit in a long time. For some reason, there was a gummy substance that
Yeah.
only existed in my elementary school. I've never seen or heard
Yeah.
of in an office space. I've never heard that
No.
being used. That you would have ticky tack that would go on the back of a piece of paper and stick it up on
The
the
little
wall.
blue thing. The little blue.
I feel like there was blue and gray. There was also like gray ticky tack.
But it wasn't that kind of glue that would come in the thing that you would stick on it.
Like it,
Ticky tack was like almost a putty.
yeah, it was like
gum.
almost like it was almost like gum.
And you put it on posters and stuff, and
Yeah.
you put it on your wall.
A little bit of ticky tack. What a baby.
So-
It sounds like something,
Yeah.
you know how like the Brits always make things sound big? It's like, oh, we got a little ticky tack
He's
on
got
that.
his ticky tack, does he?
Oh, would you ticky tack it to the wall, did you?
Do you want one of your little sandwiches for a ticky tack? They're fucking so annoying with
Thank
that.
you, Wovey. Give me some ticky tack.
By the way, during the fucking World War II, when the Nazis were bombing the shit out of them, you know what they called them?
What's that?
Jerry.
Jerry?
Jerry, short for German. But Jerry had a go at us last night, didn't he? Jerry wanted to kill Grandpa and Grandma in their own beds.
Oh my
That
God.
was so easy. And when they had the Falkland Islands things, they were just calling them the Argies. We're having a little go at the Argies right now over the Falkland Islands.
I had no idea they said Jerry.
Yeah, they would just say Jerry.
Which was kind of like our Charlie.
Yeah,
When we said
Yeah.
Charlie.
yeah.
Which that took me a very long time to find out for like why they were called Charlie. Do you know why it was?
Is it because of VC?
Exactly. Like it would have been Victor Charlie would be VC Viet Cong. And then yeah, so they just shortened it to Charlie. And I always thought that was kind of a cool like, oh, Charlie's in the bush. Charlie's crazy.
The man in the black pajamas. Chris, let's hear your.
Go to, the first thing that comes to my mind, scumbag. Fucking scumbag, or if I'm really
gross.
pissed, scumbag motherfucker. If I'm like very angry, but scumbag is in there.
The imagery of scumbag is pretty gross.
I will let people know this. Chris Stanley is a grudge holder. Doesn't even necessarily. He's not a revenge guy, but he's writing stuff down now. Once he hates somebody, he stays hating them. And like years will go by.
Yeah.
And he'll go, that fucking piece of garbage. And I'll go, oh, what happened? And I'll find out a small thing
Very
happened
little.
3 years ago.
Let me remind you, Ron.
Yeah. He does not let go of a grudge. That's why I know that he doesn't really hate Vito. You know what I mean?
right.
Because the people that he hates don't even know it.
right.
That's how much he hates them.
It's like a deep hatred.
Yeah.
It's like the
Where he
English had
smiles.
for Jerry during the war.
Yeah, treat some people like fucking Jerry's. Like Jerry scumbags.
Scumbag is so disgusting.
It is. It's the scum of a bag.
It's like condom, right? Use condom. It's a scumbag.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. But like we just said, we didn't. The imagery was gross, and then you have to sit there and say use condom.
I got a worse fucking word for it though that people in Brooklyn will say, and that's the Coney Island whitefish.
Oh.
That's what they'll call a used condom, and it just grosses me out.
And as someone who enjoys a nice whitefish on a bagel, that's disgusting. I don't want to associate it. What?
You put used condom on a bagel?
Yeah, I got the whitefish from Coney Island. I put the Coney Island whitefish on a bagel. What's so gross?
Somebody said to me that eating a bagel is the same as eating a entire loaf of bread.
It's worth it.
That's really sad, but I'm gonna agree.
They're so good.
That's like something that whatever, you could be like, oh, I'm kind of in the mood for this, but a healthy version. You don't want any healthy version. Like when you want a bagel, like you have to have a proper one.
What I use as a bagel is lettuce. And it's just like, I call it a bagel, but it's just lettuce. And then I put a scumbag on it and I go like this. I've got a Coney Island whitefish. And all right, we're going to be back here and I'll teach you how to put cum on other foods.
This is the worst show, but I can't turn it off.
Welcome back to Foods You Can Scrape Cum On. How come they've never done that on Snow? By the way, I don't know whether you guys saw this, but the Pete Davidson news is out where he's announced that he's borderline what?
Go ahead.
Borderline personality disorder.
Yeah. And the good news is it's just borderline. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
But what exactly does that mean? Borderline personality disorder.
I would think that it has something to do that is similar to like bipolar, where your personality might change on a dime. That's what I assume.
Dude, that's me. I'm ready to fucking snap in a fucking heartbeat. I guess I got borderline personality disorder.
Borderline. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind.
Stop fucking singing it!
Over the borderline.
You're poking me! Stop poking! I really did start to go a little crazy here with the poking. A poke bothers me. I don't like to be poked.
I did a joke poking. You did not like it.
I started to swing back at her.
Seriously, dude.
Fucking buckles. What is it, Chris?
I'm looking up the
I'm hooking up.
borderline personality. Here we go.
Phone voice, please.
The symptoms of borderline personality disorder: having an unstable or dysfunctional self-image.
What's that mean, though? That's not everybody.
Define, please.
Or a distorted sense of self, how one feels about oneself.
This sounds like everybody I know.
Okay, hold on. Say the first part again.
Having an unstable or dysfunctional self-image. Or a distorted sense of self.
Check.
Yes, that's everybody.
Feelings of isolation, boredom, and emptiness.
Yeah.
Look, yes,
Depression.
everybody got that. Sure, I do that. Here's most people I know. You take a picture and they go like this. Why do I look so fucking crazy in this? Why does everybody else look normal? And I'm always looking at them going, that looks like you to me. I'm hideous. I go, you're not hideous. You look like yourself, dude.
That's always the worst thing to say to someone. If you say, oh my God, that's a terrible picture, the answer is not, no, that's a nice picture of you. You should say to that person, that's dreadful. You normally look amazing and this is an awful picture.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's something that people should learn across the board. Don't say, no, you look nice in that picture. People know that they don't look bad.
Difficulty feeling empathy for others.
That's everybody I know, including the guy that just read me.
100%. He has no empathy. I feel like I'm an empathetic person.
You are, but you make it about yourself.
True.
That sucks.
Is that part of it?
Yes. That means you're fucked up. You have what's known as a fucked up personality.
I just heard the saddest story that makes me feel so bad. And now my whole day is going to be like this.
Now, he said he had some kind of meltdown in February or something, right?
Yeah.
What was it, sweet?
He's not going into specifics, but he said there was a meltdown situation.
I wish him the best because he's such a nice fucking kid. You know what I mean? But it just seems like stuff has been hard for him.
Yeah, that's terrible. I know he's had it rough. But just know we all have a distorted image.
Yes. Weird is pretty much normal. You know what I mean?
And normal's weird.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people will like a lot of my friends, they think that I'm odd or strange because I won't take a trophy from my murder victims. You know how like a lot of guys will like collect things.
That is so
little
weird.
pieces of
So
hair.
you're just fine. You just leave it behind. Everything.
I leave everything behind. I never taunt the police or the victims' families. I just go back to my normal life. And for that, I'm considered a freak or a weirdo.
Honestly, they could learn a lot from you. They have a lot less clutter in their house.
Thank you. But somebody said to me the other day, and this hurt me. They said, "Are you a psycho killer or a Geico killer?" I go, I have used the same insurance company since I was a kid. You know? I'm not jumping on something because it's easy to get off my screen, my device screen.
You really told them.
I'm a different kind of psycho killer, but still a psycho killer. And no, let me point this out. A serial killer doesn't have to act at the same intervals. Sometimes it's 3 in a row, and I take a month or 2 off. I can't go by the moon or some schedule. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I improv with my killings. Ugh. I tried to be called the head of the family killer because I was only killing fathers.
How long did it take them to figure it out?
Dude, I was actually writing in. You notice? Every time it's a father, and they were writing back. Yeah, but a lot of guys are fathers. This is the head of the family. Looks like the end of the table's going to be empty this Thanksgiving. Oh, no, I didn't know that was the uncle. I honestly thought it was the paterfamilias. Damn it. Well, just don't even count this one at all, then.
This is something else.
This is the head of the family. I don't know. I might even have a new thing on that. I wouldn't even mind being the left-handed killer, but a lot of people thought that I was left-handed. I was just trying to kill people who were left-handed.
That I understand.
The police are like, "Oh, you kill people with your left hand." I go, "I have, but not necessarily that." But they are predominantly a left-handed person. Even if they're a switch hitter, they're still predominantly left-handed. It's so hard to get a fucking image in this town anymore. Oh, hate being a killer these days. Used to be so easy. Pamela Adlon unmasked at 2 p.m. today. Vito, this is another one of your own babies, your non-Chris Stanley time. Explain how people can win.
So you're going to tweet at Pamela Adlon and at Bennington Show to get this autographed Pamela Adlon poster. It's a really great poster. It's probably the best one we've ever had.
It's the first responders contest, so you write something nice to Pamela, and Vito will pick out the nicest one, and you'll have this. I believe it's going to be a family heirloom for a long time.
I agree.
Because I think this show is going to be one of those classic TV shows of all time.
I love it so much. It's one of my most favorite shows of all time.
Daddy did good.
I love Daddy.
She's the sweetest thing. She's the sweetest thing. What if we turned around and she was here right now?
Oh my God, Pamela.
And I'm like, what are you? I'll be like, Pamela, what are you doing here? And she just goes like this. I came back for you, Ron. I left my kids, and now I just want to live with you somewhere. I made a giant mistake with all those children. I thought you and I could live a carefree psycho killer life.
That seems like it would be a good movie, though.
I know. I would love that movie. Has anybody seen the Battle of the Sexes movie that I think it opened up in just a couple theaters?
No,
rolling
not
out?
yet. Not
yet.
It seems like one that I would like.
Who is in Battle of the Sexes?
It's Emma
Stone.
Emma Stone is playing Billie Jean King.
Right.
And then Steve Carell.
I do want to see it.
Yeah. You know how we've all met a ton of fucking people, famous people, and it never. But a few years ago, I was walking in front of our building, and Billie Jean King was standing there, and I just went, "Fucking Billie." I've met a ton of athletes, But then it went over my head that this was a big athlete when I was a little kid.
Right.
And this thing was famous, you know? But I never expected to go, holy shit, there's Billie Jean King.
And it was kind of like a pro wrestling thing, right?
Absolutely.
Like they were both in on the bit there.
Yes, it was like Andy Kaufman. They used all the pro wrestling things. But if you're a person that doesn't mind being mocked, you can really get a lot of publicity in this country. You know what I mean? If you just act like, oh, I'll let them think that they're beating up on me, but in the meantime, they'll buy my product or service. You can really make a lot of money.
I think anybody who works in that kind of business too, like not just sports or entertainment, like if you can laugh at yourself and take a joke, like you're already ahead of the game because so many people aren't like that. You know who I was actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, it was up on the iBang, but Pitbull, who's a rapper. So he had just done this thing where he sent his private jet to Puerto Rico to pick up cancer patients who were awaiting chemo treatment as a life-saving move for these people who could not delay their chemo. And it's incredibly sweet. But I've always liked that guy because I had seen that thing, I was like years ago when he had put out this like contest. Yes. Like if you go, I'll play any town as long as it gets the most votes. And Reddit or one of those sites, 4chan. Like all 4chan, just all got together and said, let's send him to Alaska. I think it was Kodak, Alaska or something like that. As a joke. And he just was like, funny guys, I'll do it. And he went and like played in like a mini mall parking lot and just like played a show there. And I was like, that's incredibly sweet.
And smart.
And didn't have an ego about it. Didn't be like, fuck these guys are forcing me to do this dumb thing. He was just
He was like, hey, that was the game and that's where you want me to go. And I'm going to go there.
It's really like a classy dude.
First of all, I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, sending his private plane it's unbelievable. I'm like, now I'll always be a fan of that guy.
I know,
because you just
so
thought
sweet.
of it. You know, our government is having a giant problem, and people are thinking because we're not getting goods and services there, we kind of are, but it's moving them around the island. We don't have the trucks and truck drivers and stuff like that. So this is has been up until like, you know, recently a kind of a nightmare for FEMA. Because they were not, and I don't know how you don't have a plan if you're Puerto Rico or the Bahamas. You know that this stuff could happen sooner or later. So there's water there and there's stuff there, but it's stacked up all over the docks and there's ships that can't get in. And in the meantime, you have more people going like this. We're trying to send ships there instead of we're sending people there to move this stuff around.
Right.
It's been a disaster, but I don't know if it's for the lack of people caring. It's just for the lack of people knowing how to do this. We gotta take a break here, right, Chris?
Yes.
Coming up at 2:00, it's our Unmasked First Responders Contest. You can win signed Pamela Adlon. Just tweet at Pamela Adlon and at Bennington Show for a chance to win the signed Unmasked poster. And there's a Unmasked that starts next week.
Next week, Friday, October 6th at 4 p.m. Go to the ibang.com for a chance at free Dana Gold Unmasked tickets. He was a writer for The Simpsons. He was on the Ben Stiller Show, and he has a new IFC show, Stan vs. Evil.
Is he okay?
That was such an aggressive thing. I mean, seriously, if you people are going, what is he got? Monster trucks there? Next week!
Friday!
Right back, Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. Coming up in about an hour, it's the Unmasked with Pamela Adlon.
Yeah!
You know, Gail, remember it was somebody's first Unmasked.
Yes, Imani, it was your first Unmasked.
Did you enjoy that show?
I really did. It was great.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about her because I didn't know too much.
Yeah.
But
you learned a little bit about her, you learned a little bit about me, and you learned a little bit about life. Now, if you look over here, look at what Vito got for us. this beautiful poster signed by Pamela Adlon, which we're going to give out to a first responder. So it's what? At Pamela Adlon?
Yes, at Pamela Adlon.
And at Bennington Show for a chance to win the signed unmasked poster. This is one of a kind to get, and then it's signed. But I love that poster.
I think this is maybe our
falling back.
Yeah, like I think this is one of the coolest posters we've had because the photo is so awesome.
Well, Moni said to me, she goes, I learned about you, I learned about Pamela, but I learned a little bit about myself.
Oh, is that what Moni said?
That's what I tried to do. Jen and I were talking about something. She said she felt odd. We had guests earlier this week, Dante Nero, who is a good buddy of mine, and Harry Turjanian, who was my intern at WNEW 15, 16 years ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it just makes me feel like my life is going nowhere. You know what I mean? Like I went 5 blocks with my life. But by the way, did you guys hear how much tougher the show used to be?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know when you were going to get your head shaved to be in a boxing match?
Ain't nobody going to shave my head.
Yeah. He was such a sensitive lad. But Jen said when they both left, they both gave her a big hug, which she was like, I just met them.
Right.
And she said
normally you probably don't get that from outgoing guests.
Celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially, I don't know, not guys. Like, guys usually don't, they hesitate, like, oh, am I about to enter her private space?
Right.
Does she want a handshake? But they, went in right for the hug. I mean, even Dante, rubbed my back. I was like, okay,
They're big
comfy.
huggers.
Yeah.
They're big huggers.
I'm a hugger as well. And I feel like sometimes I might set somebody off into thinking it's a hugging show. So a lot of times someone will come in and it'll be a friend from, a guest, a comedian that we've had on before. I'll go in for the hug. And then that person is like, I guess I hug Ron and Chris after this. And I'm like, that I established a hug between you and I. You can do whatever's comfortable for your.
Yeah. This is a giant table and Chris is on that side of it.
Yeah.
Running sound. So the kind of people who need to go back and
they
hug Chris
exist.
they slow down the show. And then what I do, I give Chris a dirty look. Like, you need your fucking hug. It's not a big deal. Hug after.
I try to be welcoming at all.
I have this problem, and Gail, you.
Okay.
Because I always go for a handshake, normally man or woman. But dudes these days, they want to hug. So they come in during the handshake and hug. And now I have a hand stuck in between us.
And
so
now,
I'm trapped, super trapped.
And, I've seen this too. I've experienced one of these. So then when you lean in for the hug and you're giving the handshake, now the hand is moving between. So the hand is rubbing bellies between the two of you. And that's the part I really hate. It's got to be one or the other. I also like a handshake. I'm not anti.
I'm fine with a handshake.
I think handshakes are great. And in fact, I used to be called out on this when I was in college because I would meet someone. Oh, hey, this is my boy. This is Dave. And then I would go in and shake the hand. And then they would be like, whoa, very formal. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think
agree with you.
That's just because we're young. A handshake is a totally appropriate.
First of all,
meeting.
I think there's nothing greater than even when little kids shake hands. That cracks me up.
It's adorable.
Cracks me up.
I like when I meet a kid. If you're shaking hands with the adults, I like to put a hand out, like, are we going to do a handshake? And the kid is like, very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm also interested.
I'm going to get into it.
But the reason that I bring that up is because I would shake hands, which I think was a formal way to say hello to someone. Yeah. Totally fine. A hug, an intimate way to say hello to someone. But there is a type of greeting, and I'm going to call out the millennials on this. I'm going to join the trend of blaming millennials for doing something annoying because I don't see any adults, I don't see any boomer types doing this. This is when you've come into a room. Oh, hi, this is my friends. Oh, hey. And then that person stands there and goes, hi, and waves when you are feet away from someone. So it's like, and it's never like a big wave. It's a right by your side and it's like, hi, Jen. What? What is, it's so infantile. Men and women would do it both. And I started to notice it in college and I was like, that is so annoying. It's so childish.
The first person I ever saw do that was Sheepy. sheepy.
And he's of that age group.
Yes.
100% of those types come into a situation. Oh, this is my friend Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
With like a shaking wave at the waist. And I'm like, this is not adult behavior. No. That looks like
Harry
one
Potter
of, because
shit.
that's like a little kid would do that. A
Yes,
little
a
kid
little
would be
boy,
like, hi, Chris. And
hi,
then
Chris, don't hurt
it
me.
looks like somebody who would also like play with their dress while you're meeting them.
Why don't
like,
adult women do that? I find that so great. Their eyes.
That is the best thing that little girls do is when they're embarrassed. They're just like, this is an embarrassing situation. Let me then expose my underwear to this person so I can cover my face. This is embarrassing.
You're not less vulnerable doing that, honey. Probably more. And Chris is here, and he's known.
I'm gonna leave.
But is that not the most annoying thing?
Well,
It's
do you
childlike.
ladies like to shake hands or no?
To be honest, no.
You don't like
No.
any
Do you like
Touch,
the hug?
really physical contact. No, not really.
Yeah.
Do you
Not when I'm first meeting a person. If
Right.
I already knew this person, I'm all for the hug.
Right.
But
What about a pound? Are you okay
I
with
like a pound.
I don't know because I wear rings, so like I always think
Okay.
about the other person.
Right.
Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
pound and then I pound
So
too
what,
hard.
are you more comfortable with what I described? A very close wave.
No, that's awkward.
It is.
It's very
It's awkward. And I think that that's one of those awkward things where it's like affected. Like they're like, I'm awkward, but it's like, but you're saying you're awkward. How awkward can you be? You know what I mean? It's like I'm quirky. I don't know how.
There was there's something else happens with the younger guys, right? It used to be that it would be almost like a chest bump, back slap with men hugging, which I wasn't even a fan of. But the younger guys hold a hug. They hold a hug like we both just got bad news from a friend. You know, like grandpa's gone. That's how they're holding hugs.
What about if it's just like a face touch became like just like holding someo's face?
No.
Yeah.
God, it's good to see you.
I would hate that.
So beautiful to see
Is
you.
there anyone that you'll give a kiss to?
I have like of some of my girlfriends and gay friends. I'll do like a double kiss because that's just what we've established is a hello.
Remember that the people that used to babysit their kids on the
Yeah.
So the last time I think I saw them were at like some event or something, and the little girl was so little she's pushing her, and we were casual friends with them. That's how you ended up being babysitters,
Right.
but casual, and we both leaned in for what I thought was heading to hug, and she kissed me on the mouth.
A mouth kiss.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, okay, that's where this is going. And I always think about that because we were never on that. We never had more than a passing wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a mouth
And then
kiss.
a
is,
mouth kiss.
A mouth kiss is crazy intimate to me.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, remember that it was like last week there was a conversation because Skarsgård, what's his name?
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And Alex Skarsgård.
Had the mouth kiss as a, congratulations, you won that thing.
Yeah.
I think most people find a mouth kiss to be like beyond intimacy. Like that is like super intimacy. So to see a casual, we're friends, congratulations, kiss on the mouth.
What about when you draw in, does somebody will smell you and tell you that they smell that you smell good? You smell fantastic.
I tell people they smell good when I hug them, and I think that I only know. Like some people go, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, it's like a new cologne I'm wearing or something. And other people seem like I don't know how to react. Like I've told a man, "Oh, you smell good," as I hug them, and then they look at my boyfriend like I haven't done anything.
I didn't know that.
I didn't do anything with her. I don't know
That's
why.
just my musk.
I don't know why she would comment on my odor, but I see you both as friends, to be honest. Like, and I realize, like, I've said something to that person as a trigger of intimacy, like, I'm so close to you.
Yes.
Like, you smell good to me.
This makes me think about your penis. Coming up, Christopher. Tell them how they can win.
It's a Pamela Adlon Unmasked from the Village Underground. That's happening today at 2 p.m. And first responders tweet at Pamela Adlon at Bennington Show for a chance to win the signed Unmasked poster. It's one of a kind.
Oh,
There's
no.
one of them.
There's one signed.
There's one
Yeah,
signed.
we don't.
poster.
But some. Oh yeah, you're right because we are the only people that have the unmasked version of that
Right.
poster.
Exactly.
So you're right, but it is the logo to their show.
Make sure you tweet.
Tweet,
Tweet. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that thing.
Can we make that as our little sounder? Where did you work when I was a kid that somebody did that for the traffic? Had the
Probably
beep,
was
beep.
95 line F.
Yeah, every time I hear that song, that's what I think of. Is like, oh, traffic update.
That was either Fast Eddie or Rescue Rick. They would their job was to drive around in a truck, and they would have like gasoline and jumper cables and stuff, and they would help people. And then
shit.
And they would do traffic updates from them, but they would also jumpstart people. So you go out there, and Eddie's like, "Yeah, I'm jumpstarting somebody out of the bridges."
That's so. I
And
would love it if
sometimes
that
they would
was a
have
Beatles
donuts
song.
with them. So not only would you get your car jumped or whatever, and because that was kind of a everybody has a cell phone, he would be able to get us to call and radio ahead and all that, you know. Because I think he was on a radio, not on a phone.
Dude, that is so awesome.
Yeah. That's a job. He also used to go up sometimes in the plane. We had a guy on the AM side that would take up this rickety little plane, mainly drive above the bridges in Tampa Bay and report down. I wish if I got a hold of Fez, he would probably remember the guy's name. But everyone would be like, "Hey, you ever want to go up with him?" I'm like, "I'm not getting in that."
Was that like
crop duster.
something eye in the sky, or was that the news?
Yeah, there
place
was like
did
a sky. And one time we said we were doing we said our intern was going to skydive, right? So we set it all up. We tell people where he's going to be. And then we had a guy who had a small plane like that. He was just like a listener. And we threw a fucking mannequin out of the plane. It didn't even come down as the body. And we took some shit over that because, you know, you can't really throw a mannequin. You can't throw shit out of a plane. They don't want you to. I'm going to be honest. They wouldn't even want you to drop a fucking Nerf ball. To see this, you know.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The show never opened.
Yeah. Oh my God, the horror! We did that whole gimmick. But I remember when that guy retired, they made a big deal out of it because he was like the last sky pilot in Florida, some shit.
Oh,
like
really?
That. But he wasn't even in a helicopter. He was just driving. I mean, that's fucking. That goes to show you how slow those things are in the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going like 65 miles an hour.
It sucks.
It was a prop plane. And I don't. He couldn't have had a flight plan, so he's just fucking flying wherever he wants. I never got it.
Seem like that should be illegal.
By the way, I didn't get along with that dude because he was kind of like wide chested, and it seemed like he acted like he was a tough guy because he's flying around in this little plane. You know what I mean? Like, you're not a fighter pilot, dude. You're a traffic pilot.
Have a plane.
Yeah.
You're in a shitty plane.
Yeah. And we have Waze now. You know what I mean? Like, and by the way, all those roads were going to be fucking jammed in the morning. It was morning traffic. You had to go over these fucking small bridges to get from one side to the other.
Looks
What is
like
it,
rush
Chris?
hour hits again.
Yeah, look, yeah. Hey, it looks like it's going to be really tight between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. today.
Again?
Well, I'm excited about this Unmasked, and you guys getting here. It's coming up in just a little bit.
It was such a fun night. I mean, look, I loved Pamela before this.
Love her.
When we had her in, she was so great, and I'm such a huge fan of the show. But after this Unmasked, I was just like, she's the best person ever. Like, she was just so great.
Remember,
Everyone
we were
fell in love with her.
we're just talking to Pete about her, and she said that she came into her studio and just adjusted the light.
That's so funny. It's
I
so great.
fucking love that.
She's just like, it's too bright in here.
Yeah.
Just messing with the light.
She's just so funny. And then my last moment with her where she just grabbed my face. And
I
held it.
know. Oh my God. I keep thinking of like when she was with us, what she said. She's just so funny and she's so sweet.
Yeah, it's so crazy sexy too. Just crazy sexy.
Yeah, her style is fantastic.
Yeah. And she said, like, all her roles were like little people who thought when she was little, Like, oh, we thought you were a little boy, but you're a girl. Why would they keep writing that in? Like somebody who was shoplifting and grab that kid and you pull the hat off. And, oh, you're a girl. You're a Tom girl.
I did not realize. She's a young lady.
You're a hugger, right?
I'm a big hugger. But what I don't like, every Italian or like from Jersey or from Long Island you meet, right off the bat, they assume that you have to go for the kiss. And they get really insulted when they go to hug you and give you the kiss on the cheek when you're already pulling back. But I notice it's only Jersey and Long Island people.
Is it guys doing it?
Guys and girls. They expect, well, guys don't do it to guys, but guys will do it to every girl. So a girl will assume when you're going to hug her when you first meet that you're going to go in for the kiss too. And I'm a bigger guy. I don't ever want to be running up to some random girl I just met, like, hey, let me kiss you on the cheek.
Apparently you should be doing that. You're letting them down by not doing that. And you're just zero hugger, Chris.
I do not like hugging.
I don't. I'm pretty sure me and you have never hugged.
No, we've never hugged. No, not at all. Don't like it.
All right, I'm going to start hugging you more. I'm going to hug you every day.
Why? Why would you do that?
Well, it's awkward because there's been times where I've said goodbye and I've hugged Vito, and then me and Chris just have to be like, well, goodbye. Because I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I'll just give the old tip of the hat.
That's enough.
We won't hug a lot because of you.
I know.
Good.
Like, we don't want to make it
You're
awkward.
stopping people from hugging.
Gail told me I would have hugged you, but, he's weird about it.
I didn't want to look like one of you gets a hug.
Now,
I don't want to play favorites.
Jen was asking me a question earlier about overpaying. Is that something you hate, Jen, or you don't mind overpaying?
I'd hate it.
Yeah.
I do hate overpaying. I really do.
I don't know if it bothers me. It depends on what it's about.
There are some things, though, in the world that I think it's not a big deal because you are either paying for the quality of the thing or the convenience of the thing, and you're more than happy to pay extra.
I mean, if you're in a hotel, you're overpaying for whatever you get in your room. If you're getting breakfast, you're like, really? It's a $50 breakfast?
Right.
But, you're paying for the convenience of them bringing breakfast up.
I'll give you an example. If I'm taking a cab home, if I'm getting a Lyft or a Get or what have you, I have made the decision that I don't feel like being on the train. I want the peace and quiet of just being in my own car. So then I'm also going to say, rather than sit in traffic and take the extra 20 minutes, I'll get home at the same damn time as if I took the train. I will pay the extra money to take the toll, take
the comfort.
Take the comfort of taking the tunnel home. You shoot through that thing because it's so overpriced. It's ridiculously expensive. But I've just cut extra time off this trip, and I'm happy about it. And I'm like, I'm already treating myself, so I'm going to treat myself a little more. And I always take the tunnel. I always take that tunnel, even though it's preposterous how much money it is.
You know what? It never occurred to me that the bridges are free and the tunnel isn't.
Yeah.
Normally, if I'm going to your house, they'll just go by tunnel, and I go, yeah, I don't. And it doesn't. I don't even know I'm paying for it. I'm buying my Uber.
You're also cutting like a good 20 minutes off the trip because most people don't want to pay that extra money.
All right, that's smart. So you will pay for convenience.
I will pay for convenience all the time.
Chris Stanley, I know something that you overpay for on a daily basis, and that's your tobacco habit.
100% I'm paying.
Everybody says they will quit as it's going up. What is it now?
It's across the street from the studio. It's $15.50 for a pack of cigarettes. They just went up I guess a month ago or something.
When I quit, I was like, once this thing gets into double digits, I'm out. Like that was a big deal when it hit 10, and I was like, I can't really justify what I make as a person, and I don't treat myself in any other way. I don't have any other luxury to spend $10 a day on my smoking habit, and that was the main factor for me when I quit.
Do you know that I have friends that smoke $50 cigars? And I'm like, it's not that much better. I mean, you're saying, isn't this a great smoke? I'm like, it's not 50 versus 10.
Right. And Chris, for you too, you'll go to like the Rite Aid where they've got to be more expensive than if you there's places in walking distance, but it's less convenient to pay for cheaper cigarettes. But you're only saving a couple bucks, but you'd happily just go downstairs, pay extra money because
I do it almost every day.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I know what cigarettes used to cost pre the tax. So the cost of tobacco and shipping is not going up. That's still probably, I'm going to say $1.50. They could still make a profit selling it, and all the rest is just tax. It's just tax.
I think New York State's the most expensive, or the most taxed in the country. I think that's between them and California. But everywhere else, it's $7-8 for a pack of cigarettes.
And by the way, people in California hate cigarettes more than people in New York. Like, they will give you shit in California. It's go time. You got to be ready to fist fight if you're smoking on the street.
I was in California while I was a smoker in LA. I went there for work. I was there for like a week. And the amount of people that said to me, like, that's a really bad habit. Or do you know that causes cancer? And you're like, no, I didn't fucking know that. You're literally the first person. I've been living in a fucking bubble. Yeah. But they feel the need to come up to you. They tell you that you should quit. These are people you do not know. These are strangers.
Did you say to any of them?
At you like, ugh.
Say to one of them, do you know that you're living on the biggest fault in the history of the world? That this entire thing could slide as we're sitting here and it's due? It's actually due.
It's to kill us all.
Yeah. And I'll be just smoking my way. What do you overpay for?
I overpay for everything, and I hate it so much.
What do you overpay for? What's a specific?
Like, I just got my hair done, and I feel like I way overpaid what I should have paid. Like, I paid about $300 to get, my hair, like the highlights and everything. And I get it. I'll tip her good. I tipped her like $20, which I probably should have even tipped her more. But I'm like, I just paid for this expensive hair. It's just way too much. And it's only because you're getting like a very, it's a higher end salon. And I get it. I'm paying their bills.
But you also look nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well worth.
It's too much
But
money.
like Chris gasped. But like the crazy thing is like that's all relative. Like, oh my God, how could you spend $300 on her hair? She would think you were crazy for spending $15 a day on cigarettes.
But there's so much satisfaction from those cigarettes. It's just, they taste great.
She feels satisfied with her
looking
hair.
at myself every day with this great hair.
I will tell you this, Chris. Your hair looks like the back of your head right now. You look like, and it didn't look like that earlier, right?
No,
his hair has changed all
so
day.
much. You have like an Elvis thing going on, like a very high, and now it's fluffy and curly. I don't know what's happening.
How does this happen to me?
All right, let's go around the room. What do you overpay for?
I've overpaid for food a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
When you find out, like, when you figure shopping, you can shop for a week for what you went for dinner one night. New York, the places are so close that you eat out too much.
Yes.
You eat out too much.
And that's like a one that's like, again, I'm overpaying, and it's not just for the quality food that I'm getting. It's also for the experience of not cooking and not cleaning.
And
so you're sitting there going, yeah, okay,
it's a lovely thing, isn't it, waiters and waitresses?
It's wonderful.
You ask for things and they bring them to you.
Which is just weird when you think people mistreat servers all the time. And like, it's just the nicest experience to be able to go sit
I don't
down,
understand it.
sit your ass down and go, oh my God, I really want a steak right now. And then they're like, here's the steak you wanted from 10 minutes ago. That's crazy.
When somebody, to me, takes your bag at a hotel, and they're like, they'll tell you, I don't know, people are like, what are you doing? They want like $5 a bag. I'm like, good.
Yes,
I want the
please.
bag to be up there without me dragging the bag into. I wish they would leave my house with me and just take the bag. I want to be like those African safaris where you hire dudes and you're just carrying all kinds of shit. Does that ever even exist in real life other than a Tarzan movie?
I don't
but just
know.
like two dudes will be traveling, all these guys will be
Just doing a suitcase on some bamboo or
just
something.
Suitcases and all their food and everything. This is great. Vito, what do you overpay for?
Gail and I got into an argument over this because she's been juicing, and then I started juicing, but she goes to the little food truck outside where it's like $3 or $4. I prefer this place called Juice Generation, which is a nice store where you see all the fruits and vegetables in front of you, and they have more options. So I pay $10
for what
mine.
I buy for
What?
$4. And he's like, but I get the whole nice experience. I was like, it's the same fruits.
But
and
they also
vegetables.
know there's more. This one has more. That one doesn't have like wheatgrass, and that one doesn't have some of the different vegetables. And I could change up what's inside. I know the nutritional facts on it, and I don't mind paying my $10 there every day.
Where's this place at? Let me see what their juice looks like. What's it called? Juice
Generation.
It's ridiculous.
Mine is called Just a Truck full of juice.
Now, Gail's, I used to just, because it's green sludge, but now that I've drank it, I love it.
So I get the professional, which is
Exactly like the ones.
Look at these all have
They do look
fun
exactly
names.
the
But go to
same.
the-
Mine is a number
Click it.
17.
and then mine has all the. I take the apple
All right,
out because
let's
the
see.
apple's too much sugar. Collard greens, cucumber, ginger, kale, lemon, spinach, Swiss chard, and
What's it
wheatgrass.
taste like?
It tastes. The ginger's a little heavy, which I like, so it's like a little like kind of spicy, but it just tastes like a.
I would think without the apple, though, there's no good kind of juicy taste
Is
to
there
it.
any
Yeah.
delicious juice
I drink
taste?
it for I don't drink. I drink it more for the vegetable experience because I don't eat enough vegetables during the day. So this is like where I get them all out.
What do you eat all your vegetables at night?
Now, do you? Is this a juice? Have they juiced these things,
Yeah,
or
it's a
this is
juice.
a blended drink?
It's a
See?
juice press.
Now I already feel because mine is actually I call it a green juice, but it is in fact a smoothie in which you are blending the roughage up. But I feel like when you juice it out, you're leaving the roughage, the pulp behind. You're getting all the sweetness.
I don't know that. I didn't know.
I've seen the roughage in this though before, so I thought it was just all a juice press. I don't see the behind the scenes.
Here's what we're going to do. Later, next week, remind me. I'll give you the money. And
Taste test.
Yeah, me and Gail will buy the two juices.
Okay.
Nice.
And we'll have the thing to juice. Because I didn't think I would like a juice today. But it's got a nice juicy taste to it.
I love this. I walk to work every day and I grab this on my walk, and it's my favorite part of my day.
I love that I got you to like the green juice, but I'm more than shocked that I got Chris into the green juice.
It's because here's the thing, because we normally meet before the show. If Gail gets a juice, she gets 3 juices. If I get a juice, I get 3 juices. Chris gets 1 juice for himself. That's why he's a fuck up. Yeah, he did. He drank Gail.
Oh my God! Remember that was horrible.
How horrible was it? Took a
Because
sip of the
Vito
juice.
told me you did it. It's not like you said, "Hey, your juice looked really delicious. I had a sip." You snuck it in here, and I trusted you. I said, "Chris, please take my juice into the studio because you know I don't like to pee with a juice in my hand. I'd rather not
Right.
take the juice into the bathroom."
Now, here's what the funny thing of Vito catching him and ratting him out. It's not like, oh, I drank Gail's juice. I thought I had juice. He didn't even have a juice then. He just started drinking her juice because she wasn't in the room. Like if she was here, you wouldn't walk over and take a sip of juice. Like we're so close.
No. I'm sorry.
You won't hug her, but you drink her juice.
Good point. That's disgusting.
And I saw it happen, and then I told Jen about it, and we were both like, we have to tell Gail. We can't let her just drink
And then I
that.
come back into the room and I see a text that says, "Hey, I just want to let you know Chris drank your juice while you were in the
So
bathroom."
fucked up.
And then I'm just looking at Chris like, "Hey, buddy,
What's that tone for?
you thirsty?"
It was just, I've never seen anybody just, like, take a sip of somebody's cup. Like, holding somebody's cup, take a sip, and put
So
it
what
down.
else has he done?
Oh,
when
God.
we're not around here.
Rio's
I
a-
bet he's jizzed on our chairs.
I
sure
didn't
of
think.
it. I'm sure he has.
Never came in the studio.
No, would you have jizzed on this chair if we were sitting here? No, you wouldn't have. But you feel the need when you have the privacy to jizz on people's chairs.
I'll tell you something else that you overpay for, Vito, and have most of your life, and that's any pay-per-view. Like that boxing match. Say that it's over $100 to see a boxing match when there's boxing on TV. And by the way, we don't pay for the Super Bowl, but we're going to pay for this one match. And people do it.
Growing up, I paid for every wrestling pay-per-view.
Which started to be twice a month.
Which, yeah, it started to get really bad. And, like, when I was a little kid, my mom would only let me get, like, the 4
main ones.
The 4 main ones. And then as I got older and, like, I had like an allowance or whatever, it was like, yeah, you could get every pay-per-view, but you're giving me that money for it. Like, that's not just coming out of mine. And then it started $30 a month, and then all of a sudden it was like $50 a month at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got the WWE Network for $9.99 a month. So we're just living really well.
But they got to be making a lot less money, right?
I don't know, because they don't have to pay the cable company any money for the pay-per-views. Now it's just $10 a month going straight to them. So I feel like they're doing pretty well. I know they had to hit 1 million subscribers to like be doing well, and they hit that a while ago.
So that's $1 million a month.
Yeah, it's $1 million.
That's $10 million a month they're grossing.
Yeah,
with their streaming service. And they're not even on TV, right?
All of that stuff is streaming. That's not like a channel.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
and it's all original. They're not paying anybody for that programming. A lot of it is also just archived like tapes and like documentary stuff that they put together.
Here's the thing: they're basically the same kind of company that SiriusXM is.
Yeah,
like a once a month thing. But
it seems worth it to people who love wrestling, because I meet very few casual wrestling fans. Like the people who they liked it as a kid, but the people who like it as adults are all in. You know,
I know people who like I don't watch it that much anymore, but when I saw it was $10 a month, I mean, like, I'll watch a pay-per-view every now and then and see some old ECW or WWF stuff. Yeah, some people don't mind.
That is a big fan to me. That's not like a light fan.
Somebody who doesn't watch now.
Somebody who's there are people who won't pay that kind of money for things that they like, you know, who wouldn't pay that for movies or music.
I hate to look at my TV and go, oh, I'm going to watch this movie and find out I don't have the channel. And now they add paid channels without telling you. Yeah. And I just go, just fucking get it for me. I don't want to have a TV that everything doesn't work. It feels like part of my TV's broke if I don't get everything.
This is awful when you see a movie you want to watch and you turn it on and it just says part-time order for this movie.
Just don't even tell me what was on.
Yes, just keep that blank though.
Just 3 question marks on the guide.
Now I feel like I'll beg just to find out what's behind that mystery.
You're like, damn it was Chile.
Pamela Adlon on Mass coming up in just a little bit. First responders are going to tweet to @Pamela Adlon and @Bennington Show for a chance to win a signed unmasked poster, which quite frankly I would love to have this in my home.
Yeah, it's such a cool poster. It's like
Daddy good.
I love Daddy.
Thanks, Pamela. Ito is he's taking over unmasked bookings from you, right? He told me you were too drunk.
That's what he said. I'm not getting that drunk.
He told me. Like, I love that. He told me you were too drunk.
He's a fucking liar.
He says you're drunk a lot when I leave.
You are.
I don't start drinking once you leave. I wait to the weekends.
Or
late evening.
That's just not true. You keep a bottle like Lou Grant in your office. That's bad, right? To have a bottle in your desk is so 1950s.
Yeah, unless you're fucking Don Draper, you can't pull that shit off.
That's for if maybe a guest wants a drink. That's for them.
Offered one.
That's happened once.
That's if they want one.
I forgot to tell you guys this. This is the 50th anniversary of 60 Minutes. I don't know if you guys watched the show, but they started going back and showing clips from when the show broke in 1967. And it looks like the Don Draper show.
Oh my God.
It's just these guys smoking, wearing the same suits.
That's great.
Being so intellectual and physically aggressive at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't kind of seem to exist anymore.
Yeah.
People are still physically aggressive, but they're not intellectually aggressive. They might try to snap on you or bust your fucking balls.
Yeah, but then they come off like a caveman. Like it's not like it's not a smart way to react.
And I was watching this, and they were showing when they came on their cockiness. I guess you could consider it a magazine for TV. They were just
I love that.
So well, remember we were talking to Dante the other day of saying like you're not by being sensitive, like by acting like a woman, you're not necessarily going to have women like you. You can be sensitive to women's needs, but still keep your masculinity.
Right. And that's a very difficult line, I guess, for some men to walk. But I love that there was a time period where people would, like, a newscaster would be smoking is so amazing to me. Like somewhere between sophistication and just like raw ignorance of how bad smoking is for you. It's like the combination of those two things is just so great. Like, I remember my college professor went to my college and he was saying, you know, if this would have been, you know, in the 80s or 70s, like even in the 70s, everybody had ashtrays on their desks and I would be giving a lecture and you guys would all be smoking. Like, how weird is that? Yes. That you're like a college professor probably would have been smoking a cigarette and most of the students would have been sitting there because they were intellectual types. Because they were smart people. So they would have been sitting there enjoying a cigarette while you had like a heated debate about something.
When the other night on The Deuce, one of the characters had a heart attack and he's in, you know, the thing and he goes, do me a favor and get me a smoke. And just after his heart attack, he's fucking smoking, and the people in the room are smoking. Right. In a hospital. And this happened in this country.
I know, it's so
and by the way, back then, when you had a heart attack, your life was pretty much over. Like, if you survived, you still weren't going to be like, oh, I can't come over. There's steps there. Like, you were always on the edge of a heart attack. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't repair the heart. Yeah. I don't know what they did. But nothing was repaired. We didn't have stents and stuff like that.
Right.
So you survived a heart attack. Your chest was cut open and shit.
Oh, yeah.
But
always
then,
like those big pirate scar, like.
And it would be like, he had a heart attack. He's staying home forever. But he's not giving up drinking and smoking and eating red meat and fucking sugary things.
Doesn't move much.
He's just not going to move because his heart will fall out of his chest.
Don't ask him to do that. You know he had a heart attack.
But I remember people, like when I was a little kid, they're like, oh no, he went to Florida because he had a heart attack. So he's going to take the rest of his life easy. You know, he's 48.
Right.
So he's going to sit now, you know, and watch people go by in sailboats and try to stay alive.
Was that like also a thing of that time? It seemed like people moved because of ailments.
Yes.
Like places that were either less stress or places that were like less humid or warmer, things like that. I don't, does anyone suggest that? Does any doctor say, oh, you have an ailment, you should probably move to Arizona?
That was a big thing because it was good for arthritis. You would be in the desert air. But the Catskills upstate and the Poconos, which is upstate Pennsylvania, people went there when they had tuberculosis. You've got a case of tuberculosis, go up there, there's mountain air. And
knock it right out of you.
There, and that eventually cure your tuberculosis. They would do stuff like go from a steam to an ice bath or whatever. But I don't know what the medical attitude was. That
amazing. But I don't think there was any ailment that people have that your doctor suggests you move to another location.
There was a place upstate New York that the town took a crash and went into a depression because polio was cured. And people used to just go to that town for polio stuff.
This was on that documentary that was like the Adirondacks or something like that.
Yes, it's very good.
I watched that and it was so fascinating.
PBS did a thing on the Adirondacks that went on for like 5 episodes. 2 of the episodes were about the Adirondack chair. And Chris, if you will look it up, you know this chair. It's a gorgeous chair that's probably the most uncomfortable chair that's ever been made. Oh. For men.
It's like a lawn chair.
It's gorgeous.
That has no comfort to it. Yeah, it's very hard.
But you can see that it dips your back way in there.
Yeah.
And it was only made in that area. But that documentary was, you know, when people are like, do we still need PBS? I'm like, yep, we do.
I think there was, and I don't know if this was a different Adirondack, because I think there was a couple of them, right? Mm-hmm. But there was one that it was just about the people who canoe.
Yes.
And it was like this long canoe.
It's like an 80-mile canoe ride that people still do to this day.
Riveting to me.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the whole thing.
And everyone does it. It's like a marathon, but at certain points, because of the lake, you got to pick up your canoe and carry it from one lake to another, and then you start canoeing. Yeah, it takes days. I love upstate. I love it.
It's great up there.
I don't know why people ever went west when there's still so much space in Maine, New York, Pennsylvania. It's stunning.
I mean, the Adirondacks especially. The Catskills are smaller. The Adirondacks are big. They're the closest thing we have to like a big mountain range. But if you go up there in those mountains and you're like the lakes and the woods around you, like you really could be out west.
People get lost to this day. I mean, well, when you look at the early American myths, those, Sleepy Hollow and all that, that's New York.
Sleepy Hollow, and then what's it? Rip Van Winkle?
Yeah, that's all part of it, right?
Yeah, Rip Van Winkle was supposed to be in the Catskills. Like that whole story is him falling asleep in the mountains or whatever. That's supposed to be the Catskills in
and he
New
didn't
York.
wake up for 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, when you're at Lake Placid and stuff like that, you can't believe it's the same state as New York City. I want to take Pamela Adlon there, and she doesn't want me to be near her children. The Unmasked is coming up after this. You can be a first responder and win a signed poster. Thank you very much, Vito. A signed poster that she did from the TV show. That thing where she's falling backwards on the chair,
chairs.
which is just such a really, really cool look. And you got her to sign that. Did she like signing it or dislike it?
She loved signing it.
Good. Because I never know if people like to sign.
Because some people could be like, what is this?
Right. Well, that's a stupid picture of me. Why am I doing that? That reminds me to bring up to you about someone's picture. I can't say it on the air.
Okay.
But a friend of ours.
Like a headshot of someone's?
Yeah, somebody's headshot, a comedian's headshot. And
doesn't match the personality? Okay.
Doesn't look like it's something that you would just say, come and see this guy. Doesn't look like you would say, I want to book this gentleman to come to my place. It just looks like a mistake. But I couldn't. If someone says, "Look, I paid for this," do you know how? It's hard to say, "Oh, you did a terrible thing."
This is not good.
You know what I mean? I know you've invested $500 into this. It's terrible.
This is something you could have overpaid for.
Like, I wish you would have came to me before you okayed this. I'd be glad to tell you the truth. Now I'm just going to lie to you. It's Chris, by the way.
Of course it is.
I thought I was going to do better with that headshot.
Chris, you've never go further than the horse racing place, right?
Saratoga, no.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't make it up there this summer, though, did you?
No horse racing this summer.
Chris, if you just go like 20 minutes north of, you'll be like in the Adirondacks, in Lake George. Yes, it's beautiful. I mean, 25 minutes drive from up there is Lake George, and it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
Your place has some kind of springs, though, right?
Yeah, they're it's like sulfur springs.
You go swimming in there? Is it warm?
No.
But you wade into it, right? It's supposed to be good for you?
Yeah, it's supposed to be healing.
Is it
you
warm?
won't do it?
I won't do it.
Oh, you haven't done it?
No, I haven't done it, no.
He doesn't do anything but go to the track. And then he tells me, don't get the peanuts. We'll try to choke ourselves with it. He goes, if we have peanuts, we lose money. We'll try to stuff them down our throat until we die. I actually got that from Mitchell Walters. I hope I choke on this. I hope I choke. He just kept putting them in his mouth. Chris, I never even asked you about the football pool this year, but it's a big weekend. And last weekend, Big J went out.
Big J was out. And then people also got not out on the Steelers and the Panthers.
We would have lost most of the people on the Packers if the Packers would have lost that game, that they had to come back and win. I mean, shockingly came back and win. This thing might have almost been over.
Yeah.
All right, we come back. Pamela Adlon, your chance to win, be a first responder. You can go to our Bennington Twitter to see how to put it up there. But Pamela Adlon, Unmasked, when we get back. This is Bennington. Too far with
Sorry,
that.
we're just harmonizing.
It is time for Unmasked with Pamela Adlon. Such a incredibly funny and talented and interesting person. Everybody knows Bobby Hill, the character she plays?
It's your favorite comedy bit.
We loved Bobby Hill so much. Californication also. The Runkles were my favorite, maybe TV neighbors of all time. And then Lucky Louie. I bring this up doing this, but I remember me and Louie thought it was strange that he got Pamela Adlon on his show because she was doing the other show and he got to do both. And when that show got canceled, Louie brought her on to produce Louie with her, which is such an interesting thing. And then because of that, he eventually said, we'll do your own show kind of based on you. And they co-wrote together. And then she now directs all the episodes. It's really hard to believe. But Better Things, I believe, is my favorite TV show on TV. Because, yes, it's funny like a comedy, but it takes you to so many places. And Gail and I and Gail's mom have discussed this show incredibly.
And I should also say, like, this is a time, too, where women being featured in TV and movies more is becoming a more commonplace thing. But this, I think, is an example of not just shoehorning female characters who are written by men, but this is really a show that is funny, it's smart, it's from a woman's perspective, and she's in the driver's seat for this whole thing. Yeah. So it is very authentic in that way. And I think that women who you're either someone's mother, you're someone's daughter, or you have been somebody in this experience. You have been one of these women at one point or another, whether it's her daughters or her mom.
And one more thing, and this is kind of, I think, interesting. This is one of the times that if you're a man and you could watch this and you go, oh, I get it. I kind of have been addicted or whatever. I've done the things that this dick is doing, but you don't necessarily feel under attack. You know what I mean? It's kind of more like enlightening of your own dick fucking attitude. Because one thing about men was, yes, we're a dick to women, but we're also a dick to men. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't think anyone sets out to go, I'm going to be the asshole of this movie, but we do it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of cool if you could see it in something and go, do I want to make that change? Not even like I have to make that change, but you can say to yourself, do I just want to come on and be the dick, or do I want to do something less dick-like? You know, it's part of what growing up is about. Anyway, this is what happens with the show. You end up talking about your own issues after watching this show. I find it remarkable. And this is Unmasked. Oh, I want to tell you this. You can win. You can win a poster that Vito had her sign, the Pamela Adlon Unmasked poster. And it's great. It's one where she's leaning back in the chair and the chair is giving out and her feet are up high. She took the bump for this poster. First responders can tweet at Pamela Adlon and at Bennington Show. Go out and represent. We'd love to see you do it. And this is Unmasked with Pamela Adlon. What an entrance song.
Wow, cool. Oh, shit. Thank you guys for coming. This is like, who touched this before? Whose mouth did things?
That's a brand new microphone that we bought just for today.
Thank you.
Good. Well, first of all,
I don't have an issue.
Yeah, by the way, do you ever get sick of that song? This is your theme song now, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. It's unbelievable.
Oh, God, that song is like porn to me. I hear that song and I'm like, when Louie and I were cutting the pilot, it was that song.
Yeah.
And we played the entire song over black. We were like, how long do you think we can make the show? This is amazing.
Yeah.
But I had to have that song. It was the number one thing. It was so important to me. And I wrote this long, Jerry Maguire letter to FX, and I also wrote like an 8-page letter to Yoko Ono, and I told her that me and my girls went to see her at the Orpheum in 2010 with the Plastic Ono band, and she was playing chess with the RZA on stage for like 20 minutes, and the audience is all shifting uncomfortably, and I'm like, do you know how much that meant to me? My daughters.
Yeah.
And when the fly was buzzing around your nipple in the film. And so I don't know if she ever read my letter, but FX read their letter, and they let me have the song. I mean, it was like 4 times my budget.
Oh,
my
sure.
music budget.
But they don't give those songs to anybody. I mean, I don't care what it is. You don't hear any of those music. And if you think of 90% of television shows and just how bad the opening song is. You know what I mean? And then you come in with that every single week. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I also, in my plea, I said that, it's this historic song, and it meant so much, to my show, certainly, and to me. And I heard that song later on in my life, just a few years ago, and I have this whole theory that you can discover a new Beatles song every day for the rest of your life until you die. And that song, I freaked out, and I wanted to share it with a lot of people, and a lot of people haven't heard it, so...
Yeah, that was like right after the Beatles, so everyone was still pissed off at John, pissed off at Yoko, but it's an incredible album, and it's a great, great song. Yeah. And it sets that thing that your show is so different. But I remember, like, when the end of the first season, we were still like, when you came in and saw me, we're like, it seems like people are picking up on this. Yeah. But over the summer, it's gotten crazy, right? I mean, the reviews are unbelievable.
Yeah, well, it was amazing because everybody's like, where do I find your show? Like, and I look on Twitter and social media, and nobody knows where to find my show. And they're like, we want to see you in New Zealand and Australia. And I'm like, they can't find it in America. It doesn't fucking exist. And so, like, I go every time I'm on an airplane, I go through, I'm like series, and I scroll, I'm like, okay, Atlanta, Baskets, Big Bang Theory. Like every fucking time. And I take my phone, I take a picture, and I send it to my executives at FX. They're like, we're trying. It's about the airlines or whatever. So then, actually, they started playing it on Hulu a month before my premiere 2 weeks ago, and then people started responding, and it's exciting that people are able to see it.
Well, it's also like it's great week by week, but it is the type of thing that you can sit down and binge. I mean, and I'll say this about this show, and I don't know if I could say this about another TV show, but you can't help thinking about your own life when you watch better things. Like, you will think to yourself, God, I might have been pretty shitty to my mom. Yeah. I don't give my chick enough credit. Like, there's stuff there that just shines a light on everything.
Yeah, I like that. I like to... I saw a woman the other day who... Actually, it was at the Emmys. It was Mandy Patinkin's wife. This was kind of an awesome moment because it was after my stunning loss. I was in the aisle, and we're kind of like scooting towards the governor's ball, and she said, I love your show so much. She said, I wish your show was around 25 years ago. I needed your show. And it meant so much to me because, I needed something like this when I was a new mom. I needed something like this when I was a kid in a family. I just, there's like a veneer when you're looking at other people and other families and other stories that it doesn't really exist,
Right.
Everybody's all intimidated. So when I was a new mom, I looked like a child bride, and I was still wearing my brother's hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
You know, so it was weird, and I would go to like these mommy and me classes with my first daughter, and like all these moms would have like these lightsaber wedding rings and like you know, and I was like, oh fuck, like I did not fit in any. And then, you know, we would start at elementary school, and like this one mom who I just wanted to say her name so bad right now. But anyway, it's like I'm shaking. I just want you guys to look her up. But anyway, she came up to me. She would come up to me at school, and she would always have like a pan of like, you know, something that she cooked or made, or, you know, and oh my God. And we did this, and the Persian moms made all the nice rice and everything. And she would say, did you get the docent that we had? We had the most awesome docent. She helped us make soap out of leaves and grass. And I would be like, I didn't get that docent, and I don't know how to. So I would constantly be like trying to be a room mom and trying to, you know, like the first school that my daughter started kindergarten at, it was like a private Jewish school. I don't know what the fuck I was doing there. It was like so intense. And so I'm sitting there in the classroom, and the teacher's like, you know, shalom, and everybody's here, and these are our room moms. And I was like, the fuck? Nobody told me to sign up to be a room mom. And I was so upset. And then these other moms were like, nobody told us that like you were picking room moms. And then I got like very involved in the politics. And then like years went by, and I would be like, we have to raise money for the fun fund. And then like other people would weigh in on it, and they would be like, I don't think you should use the allotted fun funds for the vacuum cleaner. And I would be like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, you just eventually have a come to Jesus moment.
Sure.
As a parent. You have to. And you just go, calm down. Everybody relax. It doesn't always have to be perfect. And then you find your kindred spirits, and, you know, the people that you cling on to and that you become, you know what I mean? It's like if you get thrust together with a kid because they want to have a play date, you get stuck with their parents sometimes. You're like, oh shit, honey, I think you should break up with Sophie because it's not working out for mommy. I don't like her daddy. But, you know, so it just becomes about, you know, finding a place that you can feel safe and calm.
Yeah. And I do.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yes, that's what I set up. That thing right there. I just wanted you to roll with that.
God. Thank you.
It's really what makes me a genius. It really is. Just brilliant that way. But that is the show. But it's one thing to live that. We've all kind of lived different versions of that. But somehow in your mind, you thought to yourself, this story, even though people have tried to tell the single, trying to do it all story, this one feels more real than anything I've ever seen before. You've captured that kind of panic that you had.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. You know, that was my number one thing. You know, I mean, this is my vision. This is the way I see the world. You know, it's like things are incredibly funny to me all the time. You know, I like dark humor, but it has to have a heart. So if it doesn't have a heart, like if it's just totally nihilistic and there's nothing in there,
yes,
it bums me out. Like, you know, I mean, The Lobster's a good movie, but it's kind of a fucking bummer.
Well, that's interesting that you work with Louis, because he does go to those places. I remember watching a show sometimes, and it was over, and I'm just like, oh, God, I kind of feel bad right now. But you have moments of that in your show. But there is this: we have to survive. I know you're upset to the kids. I know you're pissed off. But we're going to make it through to the next day. It's just looking to break even most of the time.
Yeah, you have to. So it's like, in your life, whether you have kids or not, my show is about a woman who's raising these kids. You have to get through things. You know what I mean? So it's like a huge, like, cataclysmic thing can happen. And then the next day, it's like back to normal. It's business as usual. When I was growing up, my dad was a very volatile person. And, he would clash with everybody in the house. And we would just tangle assholes all the time. Me and my dad was, he walked into my room when I was 11 years old, and he goes, "It says in the book of fathers and daughters," which was a made-up thing, that it was like a Jew humor thing that he would do with me. "It says in the book that from the age of 12 to 18, fathers and daughters get in a lot of fights." And I was like, dude, I'm 11. Why are you telling me this now? And so it's just, I don't even know why I told you that story. My father was hard.
Yeah. And that is like the baggage that Sam carries as well. Like this thing, she wasn't raised in a way that she's completely happy with, and she's not raising her kids even in a way that she's completely
That's
happy.
right.
That's us.
Because you think about it all the time. You're like, oh, I didn't do that right. Yeah. I blew that. You sit there and you're like, I'm going to confront these kids. Don't react. Did you have sex with the thing? And it just comes out of you. It's like projectile, like Exorcist. You can't help it. Like, I can't, I sometimes, I'm like, I'm the adult. And I'm not going to say the thing, and then I'm driving, and I'm like, "Oh, did you know that you're?" Yeah, and it just comes out of you. It's just like something takes over. So you're like, okay, reset, start over. It's like the factory sign, like 2 days without incident.
Right.
Okay, maybe she's gonna forget the horrible thing I did to her 2 days ago. We're starting over. It's like we went to Disneyland. I'm good now.
By the way, the kids in this show are amazing. Just amazing. Were you involved in all the casting, everything?
Yeah, we got Felicia Fasano, my casting director. She got like 2,000 submissions for the girls, and I guess people really wanted their kids to be in show business. Like all kinds of creepy, like in the kitchen, and like their father was reading my lines and everything, and they're like, I wrote mock scenes that were never in the show for the auditions, but the girls, like, I had to find like that one thing about each of them. And they're all so incredible, and they came back this season with like the tools that I gave them from last year, and put them to good use. And it's just, it's amazing. Like Hannah, who plays Frankie, my middle daughter, she lives in the Bible Belt. Like, she does not know from being an LA kid, and I had to really kind of get them to trust me and get their parents to trust me and say, if you go with me on this journey, I'm never going to let you down, and I'm not going to stop until we get what we need from you. And you got to know when they're flatlining, when to feed them,
right,
take it away, put it in a dark corner, but really they all they're incredible. I mean, one of them is like hasn't had much of a life, so she's kind of a new fresh flower, and so when she needs emotional things, she's like, Pamela, can you tell me that bad thing about your uncle again? And I'm like, okay. So I was 9. I give them my things, and it makes them better actors. I have a thing that I want to make T-shirts that say "Bad for my life, good for my show," which is my mantra right now. And I just go, "It's okay, it's okay."
It's an amazing thing that you capture with them, though. It just feels so real. They have such pain in their little faces when they're working this out. Also, the house that you're in, right? I don't know whether it's the color scheme or whatever, but it feels like this is a real home that people live in. The way it looks, it's amazing.
Well, I had, after I cast my daughters and my mom, I wanted to cast my house because it was a character for me, and so, and all the art on the walls, almost every single piece is my art. It's either my grandmother's paintings or my friends. Those 2 big giant paintings in the living room are my handyman's actual paintings, and they're incredible.
They're great.
But my walls are covered in art. I've been collecting art since I'm 18. My grandmother was an artist. My mother was an artist. And so all the music and the art is just, that's my aesthetic. And that's what I wanted to put into the show. So it's a very handmade show.
It's an incredible feel to every single episode. And this has been, I mean, to be totally honest about that, nobody gets the shot that you got with this at this point of your life and this point of your career, and to hit it like that, you know what I mean? To wait for your pitch and just hit it. It's an amazing thing to pull off. Did you see this coming? Did you feel that you'd get this opportunity at some point in your life?
Yeah, when Louis had pitched me to John Landgraf at FX because they were looking for a female voice show, a comedy for a female on FX. And he told me, I was like, are you fucking serious? Because I was doing Louis and Californication and Raising My Girls. And I was, it was a terrifying concept because, first of all, I'm like, they're not going to want me to do that. I'm going to get rejected. They're going to get a real girl. Because I'm like Peter Pan, except opposite. And I was like, it's not going to work out or whatever. And then it was just this like golden opportunity that was sitting there. And I was ruminating on it. And I thought, the window was shutting, and I knew that I had to start working on it. And I thought, I went and I did an arc on one show that was just like, oh God, it was just circling the drain. It was just this big like waste of time and money. And I saw all these people like on this set, and it was, and I looked around and I thought, I can do this. I know how to do this. I know how to do this and not waste everybody's time and money. And I think I can tell a story. So that's when it was time. And we made my pilot. I believe that if I had done it a year before or I waited a year, I wouldn't have made it.
Wow.
It was exactly the right time.
And that was for everything to come together for you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is your entire lifetime of experience.
Yeah.
The fact that you've done this, and then you feel like this is the only moment this could have happened.
Yeah, I really believe that it was just like that time. You have certain windows of opportunity in your life, you know what I mean? So it's like, I want to lay in bed under the covers and watch Breaking Bad, and I did finish watching it. That's one of the things that kept me from starting my pilot. I swear to God. But once I finished binge watching Breaking Bad, I got, and ignoring my children and not working, I had to get to work. So,
because I don't know if everybody even knows this, she's directing every episode this season. She's writing and co-writing every episode. And again, just think of all the people who have done television forever. Nobody nobody gets to do this kind of stuff. Louis did it, and he was the one who said to you, dude, this is the way to really feel your show.
Yeah, at first I thought, I'll direct like 1 or 2 in the first season. And then, I was looking for a director in that season, and I became my own director. And then it was just a natural evolution. I wasn't thinking about it like it being daunting until I did 92nd Street Y with Ali Wentworth last fall. And she was like, are you going to direct 1 or 2 next season? And I said, I'm directing the whole season. And everybody went, oh, woo. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I got so scared. I was just like, yeah, I'm a direct, like it was nothing. So that was the only time that I kind of went, ooh. But I loved it. I mean, you think about it. I have 3 girls. I have 3 daughters. I've been a single mom for almost a decade. Okay? They don't listen to me. I have an entire crew and 3 fake TV daughters who do and have to and want to. So it was kind of easier.
But, this isn't like a 3-camera I Love Lucy show. You know what I mean? This season alone, like, you're up and you're walking through, like, vineyards, and that's great. And there's beach shots.
Yeah.
There's this giant party that we're zipping in and out with.
Yeah, it was 10 episodes, and it was 40 days. And we cross-boarded. It was all on location. It was 2 countries. It was 2 crews. We would shoot maybe pieces of 4 episodes in a day, 10 pages a day. It was like doing Amazing Race and Survivor. Like I would rip the FedEx thing and be like, what scene are we shooting next? And I'd be very, it's hard because I didn't have my creative partner, because Louis and I wrote all these episodes, and he's here and I'm shooting there. Sometimes I would be like, oh God, I need to take a minute, because the first AD and the DP is like, we have to go because we're deep into Grace. We've got to get it done. And I would be like, you just got to give me a second. And I would be by myself. I would just turn a corner and just take a minute to breathe and say, what do I need? What did I get? Do I need to go after it? Do I need more? And I would try to resist the temptation to say, oh no, we're done, but, always get my shots. I mean, Louis taught me that when we were working on Louis. He was like, I don't want to hear your stories about how your wheel's up and your trucks are gone and everybody's patting you on the back for getting done. You get your shots. And so I learned that, and I was able to really, we had an amazing set. My crew was incredible. It was very nurturing. When people say, I love your show, it's so funny, I'm like, really? We're fucking taking a knee after every scene, crying hysterically because it's so emotional. And, a lot of guys on my crew are like, I was raised by a single mom, or, I'm a single dad, and different things would affect people in different ways, and it was like kind of a massive experience that we all had.
And I think that happens for people viewing it. I know it's happened for all the people in my life that we end up discussing these shows all the time, man, all the time. And I think it's because you're capturing something that I don't even think they've done on films before. This is literally some kind of a truth that we're watching, and we can laugh at it the way we laugh at the best comedians because it's a shared experience. I don't say that out loud, but I feel it.
Well, you're allowing people to, and this is why it's great to work with FX, because they're letting me, show you, and you decide. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm not putting a blow or a button or anything on these scenes and in these moments. That's like anathema to me. I just want to let it lay. I want to let a shitty moment lay there like a fart. I want to see like the guy's face who comes into town to say that he's not going to see his daughters while he's in town. I want to walk past him. I want to stay on him. That's interesting to me. I don't get the opportunity to see that because a lot of times you're manipulated when people are packaging a show or editing it, presenting it. So I just have the opportunity to do it this way. This is the way I would like to experience things.
And all this happened because years ago, you met Louie and you guys just started doing projects to project. Because I remember when Lucky Louie was canceled, Louie did this show that we're doing right now. Right after it got canceled, and he was just like... Oh,
he did Unmasked?
Yeah, he did Unmasked. And he was just like, I don't know, we'll go on to the next thing. And I remember thinking, and he was really funny and he was very interesting that day. But I remember thinking, I know a lot of guys who had 1 year of a show and then I've never seen them again,
Yeah.
But if that show doesn't get canceled, none of these other shows probably happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that
worked out.
It's crazy because we were convinced that we were going to get picked up.
Yeah, everybody.
There was no way. They waited 9 months to tell us that they weren't going to pick us up. And we even got to like the Emmy party that year. And we were like waving to Edie Falco. And James Gandolfini, God bless him, he kissed me on the mouth and he goes, "You are the greatest." And I was like, oh my God, we're getting picked up. I fucking know it. That whole Emmy party and like, the executives were like, "Hey, Louie and Pamela." And we were canceled.
Yeah.
Which was unbelievable. And so then we started working on, we wrote a pilot for CBS. We were trying to kind of do a watered down version of Lucky Louie for network TV. Could we do it without F-bombs and whatever? And it was good. Like, I liked it. And then I remember the notes call and they were like going through it and going, okay, page 27. And I was like, okay, what? When she throws up, oh, we're not going to show that. I'm like, I don't want to show that either, but it's just the thing. So it was like, it's a sensibility that we have that is just not for network television. And so then we went to Fox and then they didn't pick it up. And so then we started writing a movie and then he met John Landgraf and he made the deal for Louie. And then he said to me, "I want you to write on my show and I want you to be in it and play Pamela." I'm like, fuck that. Change my name. I don't want... Give me a cool name like Rooster or something. So...
Well, there is... Yeah. But, I mean, just think, Lucky Louie, and we all dug that show. But that doesn't happen. There's no Louie. There's no Better Things. And Jim Norton never becomes Chip Chipperson. So it's all been this amazingly great thing. But you tell that to people when they're down, but it's hard to believe. But it really did. You made your opportunities come from the fact that one didn't work.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah. And also because that one, you were probably still trying to play to something on a technical level or a show business level, where this show is not those things. I mean, we don't all... It's weird to say that a TV show is an artistic event, but I 100% see it that way. And
thank you. That makes me feel good. Thank you.
The end of that year when Sam and the girls are just singing Alice Cooper, you're just like, this is not a TV show, dude. You know what I mean? I'm seeing something that should be in like 90s independent cinema. It's just...
I that's the way I see things, like I see things like doco style, like that's the way I like it. Like I just wanted it to be that way. And then I think about like the little details, like it would have been the perfect thing to just have me and the girls, but I decided to stick Harvey, the asshole, in the back of the car.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
The guy that, but I just, life is that way. Like, there's always one douchey guy in my fucking house all the time.
Yeah.
It sucks. But you're just like, all right, come on.
Yeah. So you collect strays. That's part of what happens in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Strays.
Yeah. I mean, there's always like at least 8 to 10 disgusting teenage boys in my house.
But I think that's something else that's unique about you is that you've been in LA a long time. You've had a great career, but there's still this outsider thing. You're not a California girl, and you're not a New York City girl either. Yeah. It's very, very different. And then also you play with gender on the show, which has kind of been a reflection of you too throughout your life.
Yeah, it's true. And that's something that I realized later that, all that stuff that I did in the 80s, like all that gender bendy shit, like I was like, finally I realized one day, oh my God, I'm doing that in animation now. Like it just, like every single character I play, hey, Mr. Hughes, like on the Red Fox show. And then I got replaced by Sinbad because he was so, like, Red was like, I can't have this little white girl in my bedroom. I'm like, Red, it's fine. Cut to Sinbad took over. And then I rob the Edna's Edibles on the Facts of Life. And then I stuck up the dry cleaners on the Jeffersons. And Wheezy thinks that she can convert me to be a good kid, but I steal George's wallet and they kiss. Like, this is insane. But I was always like playing these little boys, like these gender bendy things. And I mean, I feel comfortable in that world. Like, I don't feel like a lady thing.
Mm-hmm. You don't feel like a lady thing.
But I like the D. So I don't know how I identify. Trying to figure out my pronoun.
Did that confuse you growing up, or it didn't, or it just felt natural to you?
No, I always, I didn't, like, I felt like if I put on a dress, like, my power was taken away. Like, remember those old school pictures? Like, you would go to, like, Corvettes or JCPenney, and they would put the old-timey picture, and they'd give the boy the cool shirt and the book, and they gave me the flowers and the fake front of the dress, and that's what they did with me and my brother, and I hated that. I wanted to be on the boys' side of things. And so one of my daughters went through like a hardcore kind of, little gender dysmorphic phase. And, like me. So I wanted one of the girls in my show to reflect that. And, I'm not making any kind of comment about what she's doing. She's not talking about her sexuality. She's too young. She's 12 years old. Right. You know what I mean? So that was an important thing for me to put in there. Not like a sexy tomboy, just a straight up boy, you know?
But, I was thinking, even watching this, we may be like the last generation that even thinks like, hey, how does this work? You know what I mean? Because when you see younger kids, it's less and less, and they're kind of leaving the roles behind that we had, in the same way that they're leaving the race roles behind that I grew up with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just not a struggle for them.
That's right.
They just don't feel like, oh, I have to choose, or this is the way the world is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that this show is doing right at the right time, that this is taking place.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, if there's more like this, and you're not making a comment on it, you know what I mean? So I have, in my show this season, I had 2 little women, and they both were so taken aback. They said, we've never done anything that it doesn't make a comment about that in the script. And, it's a strange thing that there's not more opportunities. But, I mean, all of these stories are happening around us every day.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, like Minnie Driver's show. She's got a son who's got like cerebral palsy or something. Or he can't speak. He's in the wheelchair. Like, we need to have stories like that to be told in a subtle, nuanced way.
Right. And not, like you say, these things get summed up at the end of the show, like Facts of Life. Like, they would delve into something and go, hey, let's all accept. And, you know what I mean? It's just life. And that person could be struggling with these things and still be an asshole, too.
Yes.
Still be things that you have to put up with. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, when everybody says anti-hero, I don't think there is anything such like an anti-hero anymore, because everybody is flawed.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not, you know, you don't say anti-hero. You know, it's just people. It's people.
Right. And that's also the thing of you. If you look at Sam, she's not doing all that good, but her heart is there and she's staying there. And that's really what parenthood and life is about.
Yeah, you know, so one like journalist guy or something said to me,
journalist guy,
he said that Sam is a passive parent, and I was offended by that. And I said, what do you mean?
Right.
What does that mean? He said passive parenting is when, you know, you're not taking care. I'm like, so how do you exactly do that? I have no zone defense at all. I have 3 kids. Like, you know, if I'm going to hover, it's not going to work.
Right.
You know, you have to start letting go, because otherwise, you know, they're just going to rebel and it's just going to all go wrong. I'd rather have my kids in my house with me kind of being uncomfortable with certain situations and them knowing how I feel, you know, but I'm not a passive.
Well, I don't think of her as passive either, but that's thing of, all right, you're going to have some rope. There was in the episode with the older boyfriend, Sam waited for the right moment to make her move. That's mafia shit when you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to act like this is fine until I find out I have the advantage, and then boom, this thing's done. You know?
She's poised.
Yes, she's poised. Yeah. Because you do find out that if you say to your daughters, this is a bad dude, you don't want to be with this guy, you're more likely to go.
Forget it, because it goes like this. They go towards each other. Or this, or this, or this. I don't know, but you can't help it. It's just, you know, so, I mean, the thing is, she comes in and you know, Sam's like, sphincter's like this, and she has to deal with it.
Yeah.
She has to, but then her daughter is asking her for help.
Yeah.
And she finally has to admit it. She's got to eat shit, a little bit of shit. But she's still proud. So she looks at her with a cunty little face and she says, I really like Arturo, but it's like too much for me. We go to parties with 40-year-olds, whatever. And so when she reaches out to Sam for help, that's when Sam stops and looks at her, and she's just like, go up to your room. You know what I mean? It's such a gift when you're, I'm going to get, feelings. Oh, shit. I hate it. Oh.
You're a person.
No. It's a real gift if your kids in particular, anybody in your life, reaches out to you for help.
Yeah.
It's massive. You know, so your kids in particular, it's like, whoa, I still have a chance. I still have one more chance, you know?
And it's why, like, you try not to draw those lines in the sand so that they'll have that opportunity to say, look, I do. You know,
that's exactly right. You have to leave the door open.
Yeah.
You know, if you threaten or say things in absolutes, you're fucking yourself. You know, when I learned this early on, well, it's like, well, we're not going to go to the thing that I really want to go to unless you do the thing now.
Right.
And then you end up going, and you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And you have no credibility with your kid, or yourself, or your friends. And you become an alcoholic and go to rehab. Anyway, so... But no, that is a massive thing. You don't draw a line in the sand. You never do. You always leave the door open.
You know, like all things, and there's no way young people could know this now, all things are told through Southern rock. And when 30...
Agreed.
Yeah, when 38 Special said, hold on loosely, that's all you needed. That's from that point on, you're like, I get it now.
Nice.
38 Special was right. But it is true. And I'm concerned, how do your daughters feel about this show when, you know, some of this is your life? And
well, they, you know, of course, they're like every single thing. They're like, Mom, that's me.
Yeah.
You know, I did that. I'm like, bitch, I did that in 8th grade.
Right.
That's my fucking story. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, Mom, remember you caught me in the boys' room? I'm like, okay, dude, in the 70s, you know, like Karen so-and-so stuck her finger in her pussy and rubbed it on Bianca's face. And Auntie Steph and I were traumatized. So that's why I put that story in my show. Okay, bitch? I'm working stuff out from my childhood, too.
Yeah, as well.
I was your age once, too.
But what do you think was easier? And you kind of bring this up in the show, but seeing those stories on, or Californication when you and Runkle were just rolling around on the floor somewhere. I mean, that had to be strange for your kids as well, right? And you kind of...
I wasn't watching Californication with my daughters, Ron.
But do you think the kids from school saw it and said, hey, you know, the homeroom mother...
Okay. I went through, like, I had this one moment where my oldest daughter was starting middle school, and I was like, shit, I feel like some of those people are going to be watching this. So, like, I had a little talk with her, and then this one mom at the school, she was like, we really love your show. We watch it every week. And I was like, you do? And she had her 8-year-old daughter with her. And I was like, how are you explaining stunt cock to your 8-year-old? Like, what the fuck? So that can't be my lookout, but I know that my girls stayed away from that. Mm-hmm. I don't think my girls have ever even seen Louie yet.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Gideon was on Louie. My oldest daughter, she played his niece.
Yeah.
In like the first season or something.
But so you don't sit down and watch as like, hey, this is Louie and this is his show and then
No. I mean, they're all doing separate things anyway. Yeah. I mean, we're never all in the same room
together
anymore unless I cook.
Yeah.
And then we all come together. It's like the one thing that I can do to bring my family together, so I cook as much as I can.
Now, if you're on the West Coast, Louie is the East Coast, how do you guys write this stuff together?
Well, this season was great because I was here last fall. I was directing these short plays with Animus, and so I was here for 3.5 weeks, and it gave us an opportunity to be in the same room and start talking out our stories. And we actually did something different this time than we've done on Louie and in the first season of my show, which is we would just talk it out into a recorder, and then we had it transcribed, and then we just had pages and pages of material, and we would say, what was this thread? What was that thread? And we would get inspired by, different characters that we had last year. We're thinking about new ones. Sometimes I'll write a thing, and then when I'm back home, we get on Skype, and then we read out loud to each other. It's how we've done stuff all through the past few years. Like, we wrote a movie. It's how we wrote our show. When he was writing Horace and Pete, he would be like, "I need you to read this with me." I'm like, "I'm busy."
Yeah.
But it's an amazing thing because he's the most brilliant writer in the world. And I've learned so much from him. I've learned so much about what to take away, not to put too much fat. And this season was really cinematic the way we wrote it. We could, you know what I mean? Like, I was picturing everything as we were writing it. And it's like... it just I'm excited for people to watch it and see it all.
Well, I would agree with you too that it's very cinematic, and that's why I thought the directing is amazing, because sometimes you just let visuals back and forth. There was a scene where it looked like the life that the family could have had, because everyone's sitting around and there's playing. I don't want to give away for people who haven't seen it, but there's playing a piano, and there's just little looks that go back and forth, and you're like, man, this is 70s cinema. This was what we thought was going to happen with movies, and now there's this TV show on FX.
That's a huge compliment to me, because for me, I have this cork wall. And my inspiration for my show is All That Jazz, the Bob Fosse movie. Yeah. I have a card that says Goodfellas. I have a card that says Casino. And I have a card that says Fame. And I have a card that says Foxes. Like, if I could have filled the whole house with smoke all the time, then I would have been really fucking happy. And had phones with cords, like, hanging from the walls.
But it's so the interesting thing is writers don't know. You know, you're writing this thing, so you think to yourself, "I want the words to be the things that hammer."
Yeah.
But the subtleties that take place, and those little looks, and for whatever, it works like a memory. You know how in a memory you just like, "Oh yeah, I remember that one thing," but what happened around it? You know, I remember that thing from when I was a kid. And me and my mom, or me and somebody in my family having a special moment, but then you don't remember the other 23 hours a day. Those are like the captured memory spots that you have.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, when you think about a memory that you have, and, you know, you kind of revise it in your brain.
Yes.
Or then you see a photograph and you go, maybe I wasn't even there, because... like, I don't remember this, or like I put myself in that photograph. So it's just kind of, it's a little bit of a transference of that.
Yeah. And that's why I even think of the house. It does seem like a house that people grew up in. And that's why it's like a memory of a house. You know what I mean? It's like the memory of these children's homes.
Yeah. Well, it's, my line producer this year was going crazy because she wanted me to build the house, and I want to shoot the house practically. So it's like this real lady's house in California, and there's like a fucking bear like on the other side of the wall, and like it's like in the wilds, but the house is perfect. And you know, I like having walls that I can just take my camera and move everywhere, and the house is alive all the time, and I don't have layout mats down, and I don't let people put equipment in the rooms. You know, we keep it really tight because I like doing those oneers, and I like to move throughout the house. It's a huge benefit to shooting in a practical house.
It's a lived-in set. That's the strangest thing about it. It's very, very lived-in, and you can feel it when the kids are walking down the hall or just flopping into your bed. It's just...
I would nap in my bedroom every day at lunch.
Is that right?
Yeah, I would have to take my pants off every day. I have to, because I would get too exhausted. So I would get to set, and I would eat lunch for breakfast, because that's just the way I work best. And then by the time it was lunch, I go upstairs to my bedroom, my second AD taped off the floor, take my pants off, get in Sam Fox's bed, and pass out for 20 minutes. And that's how I was able to keep going.
Why the crew's wandering around and stuff? Yeah. That's hilarious. That's the oddest way to become an authority figure. But I guess if they're like, hey, she's willing to be in her underwear, she's not intimidated.
Well, do you remember in Casino when the guy comes to see Robert De Niro and he doesn't have his pants on? He goes, give me a minute. And he goes to the closet and he puts his pants on.
Yeah.
You know, no pants is very powerful and it's rejuvenating. No pants. No pants. It's my platform.
Do you play this out season by season, or do you have a feeling of where you want the arc of this to go?
You know, this season was more linear, you know, because last season was kind of more stories, you know, cobbled together and stuff that I'd been writing for some years, you know. And this season, we're just going down these roads. It's more fruitful now because all of these characters and all of these situations are happening. So I just sit there and go, ooh, what if this happened? What if this, you know, a lot of stuff is coming to me. But we pitched it to FX in terms of the arc of the year. You know, John Landgraf had said, why don't you tell me where you see Sam going? And I was like, oh fuck, this is like a smart people thing. Shit. Okay. Well, we start out and then, you know, but talking it out was actually kind of like a revelation to me because I was like, this is so cool, you know, and it helped me with the arcs. And then eventually I moved a couple of things around in editing, but it all pretty much stayed the same.
So you don't know where if this goes on for 7 years, where you're going to take it. You'll just feel every year we'll take a look at that year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that we get.
Yes, they're all wood. Everything.
Oh, fuck.
Everything you see here is wood. Look back here, nice and wood. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it is something you do want to stick with. This project feels like something you'd like to run for as long as you can.
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as I have the stamina.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to have a job. It's amazing to be a boss. I try to encourage everybody now to be a boss, to do as much as you can, to kind of stretch your limits, you know. It's a big deal for me that I have 4 or 5 different jobs now, you know, and that I have the ability to make an income, provide for my family, and keep myself working. It's like everything for me.
And to me, you've already proven that you can, you know, direct a film if that's something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Is that something that...
Yeah. I would love to do that, but I really want to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, cuz I'm making this beautiful television show. I mean, why the fuck would I, you know what I mean?
Right.
Want to make a movie unless it was like force majeure or something cool like that.
Yeah. Well, I told you a lot of years ago that I did this show with Louie, and we both thought it was very cool that he got you into Lucky Louie, and we both were amazed that he could pull that off because we were both fans. But I have to tell you, when you're a fan of somebody and to see them grow and pull off something like this, it's very, very rewarding.
That's so sweet.
For a fan. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much.
Oh my God! Thank you so.
Pamela Adlon, everyone. Pamela. You're fantastic.
Stop it!
Only women bleed. That was so much fun.
That was such a great interview, and you guys were so great together, and your rapport was so great, and it was a fantastic ending.
But you guys were that was the best produced show I've ever was part of. All you guys were on point. I'm going to say the truth. I didn't see Vito do anything, but I know Jen and Gail did. And Chris Stanley, what you did musically at the beginning of that and at the end of it, and I'm not kidding when I say this, I'll never forget that the rest of my life. I'll never forget the feeling that music gave to that room.
It was perfect.
First responders, your chance to win Pamela Adlon Unmasked. Just tweet at Pamela Adlon and at Bennington Show. We have it up on our Twitter if you need to. I'm going to say cut and paste, or is that already a done vernacular?
No,
in this
that's
business?
correct.
Okay. Because I never know. Maybe you can click a link. I don't know what you're supposed to do.
You can click a link, or you can cut and paste. You can do both.
That's it for us, guys. Make sure you go out and win this Pamela Adlon. Go to the Bennington Twitter, but it's all for first responders. That's it for us. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. I'll be at the Stand for 4 shows hosting this weekend, and should be a lot of fun if you can make it out. And otherwise, we'll see you again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!